Chapter 1150. Long Yijing gracefully smiled at Lin Shun and said, I hope that one day I can have a little competition with Sir Lin Shun on the path of alchemy. Seeing a genius like you, I can't help but feel the itch. Lin Shun smiled and said, Of course, of course. To be honest, other than using my eyes to refine pills, I have a higher realm that is more fun and exciting. Some of the saint-level alchemists' mouths twitched. Higher than that? Oh my God, they really couldn't think of anything more ridiculous than using your eyes to refine pills. After speaking, Lin Shun waved his hand, and the Saint Dragon turned into a stream of light and entered Lin Shun's body. Lin Shun turned and left, too lazy to pay attention to this noisy guy. Seeing the 5 clones next to Lin Shun, the 3 giant alchemists and the representatives all held their breaths for a split second as their expressions suddenly changed. That's right. There's a legend about Lin Shun. It said that he has 5 clones that are at the peak of perfection. It's hard to tell the real from the fake, and their strength is equivalent to the original body. These clones are the people that he created the Black Horse Club. Clones are part of the alchemists. If he uses clones to refine pills, it's completely not against the rules. If it's true, and he can perfectly control these clones to assist in refining pills. Qi Mei Er's charming face had a touch of horror. It was extremely terrifying. If his doppelgangers were really at the same level as his original body, then if he were to control these 6 doppelgangers to concoct pills, then wouldn't the holy grimoire Lin Chen's ability to concoct pills be just the tip of the iceberg? His alchemy could still reach a higher level. He definitely wasn't a baseless person. What a terrifying young man. I heard that Lin Shun is still alone. Qi Mei Er stared at Lin Chen's back as he left, and her soft red tongue licked her red lips. She was a proud and arrogant woman who was doted on by thousands of people. In the field of cultivation and alchemy, she had achieved near the top. Very few geniuses were able to subdue her. In her life, she had already set her sights on the demon genius list. However, the appearance of Lin Shun caused her to quietly change her mind. Very interesting. You're Lin Shun, right? I'll remember you. Looking at Lin Shun's back, Long Yijing continued to smile. The back view of Lin Shun and his avatar leaving together left behind an indelible shock in the hearts of all the saint-rank alchemists. That's right, the saint-level alchemists and Qi Mei Er thought of the same thing. If Lin Shun used his clone to help him refine pills, how terrifying would he be? No one could predict it. That big brother. At this time, Lin Shun had just reached the exit when Fei Xiaoyu blocked Lin Shun's path. She blushed and twisted her fingers as if she was trying to muster up her courage. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's. Big brother, can you touch little you one more time? Lin Shun stared blankly. Who could withstand this? Following that, Lin Shun laughed involuntarily. He understood Fei Xiaoyu's meaning. Lin Shun stretched out his hand to ruffle her hair, and the mental storm in his body calmed down once again. The more Lin Shun looked at Fei Xiaoyu, the more pleasing she was to his eyes. She made him think of Shan Ling Shuang, that lass, so he simply took out a jade letter. Here, this is for you. After cultivating this incomplete cultivation technique, you'll be able to control the mental energy in your body. Remember not to give it to others. This was the first half of the Genesis Holy Scripture. Lin Shun simply gave it to this lass. Since she had allowed him to obtain so many attribute light balls, he would treat it as repayment. Fei Xiaoyu's delicate body trembled as 2 streams of tears flowed down her face. This must be very valuable. Xiaoyu cannot accept such a valuable thing. Fei Xiaoyu revealed her true feelings, but she still rejected Lin Shun. Lin Shun couldn't help but be slightly moved. This lass must have been affected by her bloodline for her entire life. Now that there was a solution, she could still face the temptation rationally. How about this? Since you obtained 2nd place, if you don't mind, I will use this cultivation technique to exchange for your 2nd place reward. How about it? Lin Shun smiled. Fei Xiaoyu was stunned. Really? Of course. Lin Shun and Fei Xiaoyu completed the exchange. The reward for second place was a mid-grade destiny plant pouch that was comparable to an orange-grade cultivation technique. The value of an orange-grade cultivation technique was enough to make countless saints go bankrupt just to buy it. Moreover, if an ordinary saint's cultivation was below the fourth heaven true saint realm, they wouldn't have the qualifications to touch an orange-grade cultivation technique. Most fourth heaven true saints cultivated orange-grade cultivation techniques because they had the backing of a large force behind them. Furthermore, they had contributed a lot to their sect before they could touch this cultivation technique. The value of a mid-grade destiny plant pouch was naturally the same. Lin Shen was currently lacking this. He had obtained 2 low-grade destiny plant seeds, and the peach blossom plant pouch could only contain 1 more. Thank you, big brother. Fei Xiaoyu left happily and soared into the sky. She couldn't wait to cultivate her cultivation technique. Could it be that Sir Lin Shun liked someone like Xiaoyu? Inside the passage, another beautiful woman blocked Lin Chen's path. It was Qi Mei. She was dressed in a fiery red robe, like a beautiful and proud phoenix. Her devastatingly beautiful appearance had the beauty of a fox demon. Her pair of beautiful peach blossom eyes were tender and alluring, and her exquisite and full curves were almost perfect. It made people want to hold her in their arms and recklessly charge into the enemy. Lin Shen smiled. If I want to make friends, I naturally prefer a little girl. At least she isn't scheming, right? I wonder why this beautiful little sister is looking for me. Let me say this first. I'm the star of the Black Horse Club. If you want to ask me out, you have to queue up. Although you're pretty, you don't have the right to cut the queue. Qi Mei chuckled. Sir Lin Shun is really interesting. Qi Mei tossed with her slender hand, and an ancient scroll spun in midair before landing on the beauty's snow-white skin. Moreover, it happened to be in the middle. Slowly and deeply it sank in. Since you like Xiaoyu's second-place reward, then don't you want to take my third-place reward as well? Although this was only the first half of the orange-grade cultivation technique, when cultivated to perfection, it could perfectly display the power of the orange-grade battle technique. Its value was enough to make countless fourth-level Saint Realm experts go bankrupt to buy it. Qi Mei was charming and charming. Her eyebrows were slightly raised. She could be said to be a top-grade beauty that could cause the downfall of a country. Lin Shun clicked his tongue in wonder. Damn, an orange-grade cultivation technique and a peerless beauty. Who could withstand this? If it was someone else, they would have already pounced on her. Which, are you planning to bribe and seduce me? In the passage, a woman walked over. She was slender and elegant with a graceful figure. Her delicate face was like a lotus flower that rose out of the water. Oh, Qi Mei's eyes flashed and she laughed. So it's Shangguan Lioli. Why? Are you trying to snatch my man? Hey, I won't do such dirty things. Shangguan Lioli spat and secretly transmitted her voice to Lin Shun. Lin Shun, you have to be careful of this woman. She comes from the Happy Mandarin Duck Palace, and the cultivation technique she cultivates is specifically to absorb men's essence. Shangguan Lioli's transmission stunned Lin Shun. He asked, "That, sister, why are you so concerned about me?" The beautiful woman was stunned, and her cheeks turned red. She immediately explained, "Of course it's because we are the same kind of people. I still want to discuss with you about alchemy with Saint Beasts in the future." Are you talking bad about this young lady again? Qi Mei raised the corner of her mouth. This young lady is not like those women in the palace. There aren't many people who can catch my eye. The 2 women stood in front of Lin Shun, one in front and one behind, facing each other with equal harshness. Lin Shun, why am I in the middle again? He raised his hand to stop them. Well, let's do it this way. I have so many clones. You can pick one of them and bring it home. I can handle it. After saying that, the 2 women were stunned. Lin Shun, I'm really a clever little devil. Chapter 11:51. After Lin Shun had broken through to the Saint Realm, each doppelganger he created with the Phantom Rune consumed 9,000 points of high-grade rune energy. Lin Shun had obtained more than 1,000,000 points of rune energy from killing 9 fourth heaven true saints. This meant that Lin Shan couldn't afford to let his clones die as he wished. However, the only good thing was that the clones created by the illusory rune would always be at their peak condition. This was the most perverse thing about the illusory rune after Lin Shan had broken through to the true saint realm. An undying true saint who could maintain his peak condition at all times was an extremely terrifying existence. With great difficulty, Lin Shangang finally managed to shake off the two women. He left the passageway and walked out of the Pill Saint Island. Even though the grand alchemy ceremony had ended, the Pill Saint Island was still bustling with activity. The little demon empress crossed her arms in front of her chest and asked Lin Shan with a playful smile on her face. "Not bad, little representative Wang Gu. You managed to mesmerize so many beauties just by participating in the grand alchemy ceremony." Lin Shan sighed. "Back then, when I was born, an old fortune teller with a sage-like demeanor told my family that in the future, this child's greatest strength was his specialty. His greatest strength was that he was too kind. His greatest weakness was that he was too king handsome." The little demon empress raised her hand. Stop, stop, stop. Stop, stop, stop. Are you done yet? This time, I'm here to tell you that the most beautiful young man in the sacred boundary has come to inform you that Fairy Scarlet's banquet will begin in 10 days. Originally, with the two elders escorting you, it would only take 3 days. However, I just received a report that I have to go to a special secret realm. Since time is of the essence, the two elders will have to escort me there temporarily. Therefore, you'll have to walk the rest of the way by yourself. Lin Shan shrugged. That's not a problem. If you want to go, go. The little demon empress rolled her eyes at him. Do you think it's that simple? You've offended Long Yijing. Don't be fooled by his scholarly appearance. When he kills people, there's no trace of him. The little demon empress paused for a moment. Actually, my suggestion is that you can choose to give up on Fairy Scarlet's banquet and wait for our Elder Wong Valley to come back and receive you at Pill Saint Island. After that, you can find another way to obtain a substitute token. Long Yijing won't dare to make a move against you on Pill Saint Island, but things will be different once you leave the island. I'm fine. Lin Shan waved his hand and smiled confidently. If I was afraid of trouble, I wouldn't have danced at the Holy King's grave. You can go on your adventure without worry. If there are any problems, this handsome guy will take care of them. Seeing that Lin Shan was insistent, the little demon empress did not stop him. Instead, she tossed something to Lin Shan. It was a small copper coin sword that was filled with dense spatial energy. Even though Lin Shan's cultivation had reached the Saint Realm, he still felt a lingering fear. This is a spatial sword refined by 2 Elder Wong Valley. It can break through the spatial seal of a 4th Heaven Saint Realm expert. You must be careful. Time is of the essence, so I'll take my leave first. The little demon empress stepped into the air, and her calm voice echoed in Lin Shan's ears. Lin Shan, the monstrous genius list is extraordinary. Remember not to let your emotions affect your decisions. Even though the little demon empress usually bickered with Lin Shan, she was still the first to care about him when something happened. She was not careless. Of course, I know that the monstrous genius list is extraordinary. However, the prerequisite is that his opponent is an ordinary person. Lin Shan smiled slightly and opened the system. Host consumed 42,000 high-grade cultivation technique soul essences, fusing the remaining cultivation memories of God's tears with Lin Shan's current strength. Fusing the cultivation memories of God's tears with his 5 great doppelgangers was as easy as eating and drinking. He completed it in less than 15 minutes. So that's how it is. God's tears' attack power is quite comprehensive. It is divided into 3 stages. The first stage is to shatter one's cultivation and explode with saber energy fragments. The second stage is to shatter one's pure strength along with one's cultivation. The saber energy fragments contain both pure strength and cultivation. Lin Shan had only used the saber energy of God's tears to shatter pure strength and cultivation during the battle on Kirin Cloud Island. It required a lot of pure strength. The third stage is to shatter one's mental strength. TSK, TSK, TSK. If the enemy faces my all-out attack, which contains both pure strength and cultivation, as well as a mental attack, and can explode at will, the saber energy fragments will contain 3 types of attacks. I'm afraid that even second Heaven Saint realm experts at the consummate stage won't be able to withstand it. Lin Shen estimated that with his foundation, he could only use God's tears once. The main thing was that the strength of his pure strength couldn't keep up with his cultivation and spiritual realm. I have to hurry up and raise my body refining realm. If possible, I have to collect more heavenly Tao points to awaken my saint physique. It can also increase my pure strength quickly. All right, there's still this. Lin Shen's consciousness seeped into one of the storage rings. Within this storage ring, there was an ancient book covered in dust, lying within the storage ring. This storage ring belonged to the Sky Prime Battle Sage. Why were orange-grade cultivation techniques so difficult to obtain? First of all, resources were scarce. The people who created orange tier techniques were all amazing people in history. At the very least, the creator was a 9th Revolution saint who was above the 9th level saint realm. He was half a step away from becoming a saint king. Secondly, if a cultivator wanted to imprint an orange-grade cultivation technique, they had to first cultivate the technique to the consummate stage. Only then could they spend a lot of time and effort to imprint the technique. This ancient book was most likely not left behind by the Sky Prime Battle Sage. It was a technique he hadn't been able to cultivate before he died. Whoosh! The ancient book turned into a stream of light and entered the system. Low-level, orange-grade combat technique, Dance of the True Dragon. Dragon's might can suppress heaven and earth. One spear can cover heaven and earth. One spear can break the sun, moon, and stars. Spear-type combat technique. Transforming the spear into a dragon. When the spear technique is used, one spear attack and one spear defense can be used to parry the enemy's strength. Metal-type combat technique. It's actually a spear-type combat technique. TSK, TSK, TSK. Impressive. One attack and one defense. It's somewhat similar to my sky riding. However, the former is an orange-grade ultimate technique. It's much more agile than a half-orange grade ultimate technique. When defending, it can even block the enemy's attack and turn it into a counterattack. Lin Shen chose to learn Dance of the True Dragon without hesitation. Consumed 61,200 high-grade technique essence. Beginning to integrate Dance of the True Dragon's cultivation memories. He had one more trump card in his arsenal. This was his second orange-grade combat technique. Lin Shen asked his 5 clones to return to the Peach Garden plant pouch to integrate the cultivation memories. Lin Shen had specially allowed Little Dark Shadow to consume the 5 rank, 1 divine pills, and 15 divine embryonic pills that he had prepared, especially the divine pills that the Clear Sky Saint King had given to Lin Shen. Little Dark Shadow had consumed them all. Its bloodline had the talent of the most powerful demon tribe. It was not afraid of the Clear Sky Saint King's demonic chi at all. Now, Little Dark Shadow had entered a critical bottleneck. Once it woke up, its growth would be unimaginable. Chapter 1152. Lin Shen looked back at the storage ring. Among the geniuses he had killed in the previous battle, there were quite a number of first-grade sacred artifacts left. Should I assimilate these sacred artifacts? But I'm lacking Heaven's Path points now. Assimilating these 17 sacred artifacts will consume a large amount of Heaven's Path points, and I might not be able to increase my strength steadily. At that moment, the system screen popped up. System prompt. Disassembling sacred artifacts will allow you to obtain set essence. Lin Shen was stunned. Damn, why didn't you say so earlier? Without another word, Lin Shen directly dismantled those saint artifacts that he temporarily had no use for. Consumed 6,220 mid-grade Heaven's Path points. Decomposed 17 first-grade sacred artifacts. Received set essence. 51,510 points. 1,000 metal elemental energy. 2,920 water elemental energy. He had obtained 50,000 set essence in one go. Although set essence was a necessary attribute for the next system update, Lin Shun would rather have one more point for his life-saving skills first. Assimilate all set essence into the Aries Vambrace. Whoosh! Lin Shen's set essence attribute became 0 again. The Aries Vambrace in his system space shone brighter. Awesome, haha. Awesome. Looks like I can target a large number of sacred artifacts in the future and try my best to disassemble them. Lin Shun was overjoyed. He dripped a drop of blood to make the new mid-grade Providence plant pouch recognize him as its master. Lin Shen's consciousness entered the new Providence plant pouch. This time, the snowy mountains inside were pure white, and the mountain ranges were winding like dragons. But what was magical was that on the other side of the mountain range, there was warm light and a green forest. Everything was born, and spring was full of life. Compared to the Paradise plant pouch, which was like a few small valleys surrounded by birds and flowers, the new Providence plant pouch was even more majestic. It was as if a small mountain range had been refined into it. It said that only level 8 or even level 9 saints and above have the qualifications to create this Providence plant pouch. This space can allow me to cultivate more than 10 Providence spirit plants. Lin Shun clicked his tongue in wonder and immediately planted the 2 Providence seeds that he had obtained previously. Lin Shun named the new Providence plant sack Clear Snow Plant Sack. He didn't plan to plant any more fortune spirit plants in the peach blossom plant pouch. It was always good to leave some space. Haha, to be able to create a high-grade destiny plant pouch, he must be a 6th heaven true saint at the very least. Who would have thought that I, Lin Shun, would be so wealthy? And I'll gather resources and nurture new destiny plants. Lin Shun strolled around the Pill Saint Island. This was a holy land for alchemists to buy and exchange resources. There were too many treasures that could not be found in the outside world. Lin Shun was not in a hurry to leave. He had estimated the time. With his ability, it would take him about 6 days to travel from the Dan Saint Island to the southern Song territory, where the Scarlet Fairy was. Of course, the premise was that no one came to disturb him. In the following time, Lin Shun purchased a large number of resources on the Pill Saint Island. Shangwan Liuli took the initiative to find Lin Shun and chatted with him. They talked about alchemy, and she treated Lin Shun as the only person in the world who could empathize with her. This made Lin Shun feel very awkward. His holy dragon was not a companion spiritual beast. It was a dragon clan that was created based on his bloodline attribute value and the wisp of life essence of a true dragon that he had once obtained. After so many months in the Sacred Burial Mountain Range, he still had more than 110 million Saint Origin coins left after deducting his daily expenses. This was especially true for the pill formulas Lin Chengwang had obtained on the Rainbow Island. Apart from using a portion of the 3rd grade divine pill formulas, there were still 11 scrolls left. Lin Chengwang had sold 2 scrolls of pill formulas on the Pill Saint Island and earned nearly 100 million silver Saint Origin coins. There were many alchemists here, and there were even more who needed pill recipes. With the 200 million silver Saint Origin coins, Lin Shen bought all the way. He focused on buying the heavenly One Holy Water. In order to nurture the wandering divine tree to its peak and cultivate new spirit plants, the heavenly One Holy Water was indispensable. 2 days later, Lin Shen's wandering divine tree finally stepped into its peak. As for the ordinary odd crystal fragments, Lin Shen also bought a lot of them. He had created as many as 11 high-grade blue rank killing techniques. The blue rank killing techniques required extremely harsh special attribute values and could threaten the life of a 3rd-level Saint Realm expert. It was extremely terrifying, but it could not be obtained from the odd crystal fragments. When Lin Shun thought that he was rich, the Pill Saint Island launched a low-grade gold odd crystal with a price of 500 million silver Saint Origin coins. At this time, Lin Shun knew that he was still far from it. If Lin Shun sold the Wandering Divine Fruit, he could easily get this low-grade odd crystal, but he would become the target of public criticism in the Green region. As long as there was a Wandering Divine Fruit circulating in the market, there would be countless alchemists searching for news of the wandering divine tree. Even a fifth-grade sect would be in trouble if they had this. In the end, Lin Shun sold 5 scrolls of first-grade pill recipes, 500 red gold vines, clear jade dew, and 300 long qingguo to get this gold odd crystal. This was after the 3 alchemists wanted to be on good terms with Lin Shun and personally negotiated with the Chamber of Commerce for him. They gave him a 10% discount, which was a total of 50 million silver Saint Origin coins. In fact, Lin Shun had a misconception. He was indeed very rich. It was just that he felt that he was very poor for a short period of time. A peak low-grade spirit plant of luck could produce more than 12 million silver Saint Origin coins in a year, 120 million in 10 years, and 2 billion in 100 years. 100 years was a short period of time for a saint to go into seclusion. But any saint who had a single spirit plant of luck would have a completely different wealth and cultivation resources compared to those who didn't have any spirit plants of luck. Lin Shun had 3 peak spirit plants of luck that could produce more than 30 million silver Saint Origin coins in a month, which was close to 400 million silver Saint Origin coins in a year. If other saints had this kind of foundation, they would be eager to find a place to go into seclusion for 100 years and eat resources until they broke through. Lin Shun bought 11 cubic meters of Tiani holy water and nurtured the 2 new spirit plants of luck past the seedling stage. When they reached the growth stage, Lin Shun finally saw their true appearance and was pleasantly surprised. It's actually the dragon blood tree and the 10,000 immortals palm. The 10,000 immortals palm was a cactus-shaped, low-grade spirit plant of luck. It was not poisonous and did not produce herbs. It only produced silver Saint Origin coins and special products. The needles on the cactus had the magical effect of 1 needle being more effective than 100 pills. The needles could be used to detoxify poisons that even saints were wary of. Once one was poisoned, the needles of the 10,000 immortals palm could be used to prick the wound and extract the poison. It was effective against many poisons. As for the dragon blood tree, Lin Shun loved it even more. Ha ha! It's said that the seeds of the dragon blood tree can only be born when a drop of blood drops from more than 10 saint dragons before they die. Its special product is the dragon blood saliva. Every drop of the dragon blood saliva contains violent qi and blood energy. It's a genuine body-refining, sacred item. If the long qingguo's effect was 50% body refining and 50% healing, then the dragon blood saliva was purely body refining. The red gold vine increased the dragon body's defense, while the dragon blood saliva increased the dragon meridians and dragon power. While the long qingguo healed, it could also recover and increase one's strength. The 10,000 immortals palm's immortal needle could restrain most poisons, while the roaming soul fruit could increase one's mental strength and replenish one's mental strength. Lin Shun's spirit plants of luck were a reserve of resources that could attack, defend, recover, and detoxify. Chapter 11:53. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye, and Lin Shun had perfectly refined the new low-grade, odd crystal. In addition, he had perfectly fused the cultivation of true dragon dance, and the newly obtained low-grade odd crystal was of the metal attribute. With a new orange-grade technique, he would definitely be able to unleash a new divine power. 3 days, time is set off. Lin Shun didn't stop. Once the 3 days were up, he immediately set off and left Pill Saint Island. Just like before, Lin Shun wore the 1,000 illusion mask and used his avatar as bait to set off in different directions. What surprised Lin Shun was that the 4 days after he left the Pill Saint Island were extremely peaceful. Lin Shun didn't encounter any danger, ambush, or sneak attack. Strange, is this guy so magnanimous? When I left Pill Saint Island, the dragon-right crystal was still on the island, and my avatar didn't encounter any ambush or danger. While Lin Shun was puzzled, he shuttled through the void and flew to the sky above an island. For 4 days, Lin Shun let the holy dragon consume the dragon blood saliva and red gold vines to cultivate. He had been tearing through the void nonstop. Finally, on the 6th day, Lin Shun arrived at a location near the southern border of the Tsang region. The southern border of the Tsang region was jointly managed by 3 6th-grade sections. There were many strong people here, and few people dared to offend them. Didn't this guy appear? Forget it. I'm almost there anyway. High in the sky, Lin Shun released the holy dragon. Chi! Suddenly, a bolt of lightning exploded from the spatial crystal wall 100 miles ahead and shot straight at the dazzling azure holy dragon. Lin Shen's eyes were like lightning. The ultimate moment, and the 8-layer transformations burst forth. With a flick of his hand, the 4 flying daggers that were as thin as cicadas' wings spun as if they had a mind of their own as they shot out from Lin Shen's hands. The holy dragon opened its mouth and condensed dragon breath. The spiraling blue dragon breath collided with the black lightning. Boom, boom, boom. The lightning beam penetrated Lin Shen's flying sabers and dragon breath. It still had enough energy to shatter the holy dragon's 10,000-year azure light protection. Dragon blood splattered as the holy dragon fell. Lin Shun absorbed the holy dragon into his body, his expression indifferent. Yang Guang's bright laughter reverberated in the void. Space talismans exploded one after another, instantly forming a space enchantment barrier within a radius of several hundred miles. What a great diversion technique. Lin Shun, do you want to cripple your own hands? Or do you want me to cripple your own hands and take you away? It seems like you still have a lot of secrets. 3 figures slowly walked out of the void. The one in the lead was Yilong Jing, and the other 2 had 21 saint acupoints on their bodies. They were both early 3rd Heaven True saints. He saw through the disguise of the 1,000 illusion mask. No. He locked onto me directly. Did he leave a mark on me? Lin Shen's brows furrowed tightly. Suddenly, he came to a realization. It was a candidate for the genius list. He had tampered with the candidate token to track him. I didn't expect him to make a move in such an unexpected place. Interesting. So what if he's on the genius list? Since he's here, let's fight. Lin Shun removed the 1,000 illusion mask, revealing his true appearance. His eyes shone with a domineering battle intent. A light flashed, and Lin Shun gripped the Dark Phoenix spear tightly as he chuckled. You brought so few people to catch me. Isn't that a little insufficient? Could it be that little young master, Yi Jing, hasn't heard of this handsome guy's legend? Even a large number of 4th Heaven True saints died. You brought 2 3rd Heaven True saints? Isn't that a little insufficient? Long Yi Jing's lips curled into a disdainful sneer, as though he was in control of the entire situation. Lin Shun, I don't doubt your battle prowess at the Holy Burial Mountain Range. However, this young master isn't so easily frightened by you. This young master is betting that the battle prowess you displayed at the Holy Burial Mountain Range won't appear again. In this world, only those on the genius list can surpass common sense. Only this young master is ranked on the genius list. I'm very clear that the more strength surpasses common sense, the greater the price one has to pay. This young master doesn't believe that you didn't pay a price in the previous battle. If you have the guts, then bring out your previous strength. Lin Shun, you're playing with fire. How dare you touch the woman this young master fancies? Long Yi Jing waved his hand, and with a ripping sound, 2 afterimages shot towards Lin Shun. Although there was only a difference of 1 saint aperture, these 2 people were much stronger than the 9 Shadows killer, Heartbreak Red. The people on the genius list aren't idiots. It doesn't matter if they're discovered. Even if there's no heaven-defying cultivator, I can still fight them. System kill move. Lin Shun shouted in his heart. Chi, bang. Activating high-grade blue rank sure kill skills. Heavenly Ice Corrosion, Purgatory Wind. Target locked. 3 people. Beginning bombardment. Hurricane holes appeared above the heads of the 2 saints, and they continued to lock onto the 2 people. Endless ice storms descended from above Long Yi Jing's head, engulfing him. The three of them were all third heaven true saints, and these sure-kill skills could only delay them slightly. They forced out their Saint Chi defenses and affected part of their strength. Long Yi Jing took a small step forward and used his movement technique to pierce through the void. He dodged to the other side, but the heavenly Yin Ice corrosion was still following him. Oh, is this the unavoidable attack mentioned in the intelligence report? Long Yi Jing tried to grab the demonic Yin Ice cloud with his palm, wanting to destroy it. Unexpectedly, the demonic Yin Ice cloud started to condense again. Interesting. Even I haven't seen such a strange attack before. Long Yi Jing's shoulders trembled, and the holy light in his saint aperture surged. Streaks of lightning wrapped around his body, blocking all the heavenly Yin Ice corrosion. While the three of them were distracted, Lin Chen didn't stay idle. Doppelgangers return. With a thought, Lin Chen recalled all his doppelgangers, and his saint aperture shone brightly. The Saint Chi stored in his saint aperture surged to the critical value of the 10th saint aperture. Even though his attributes were different from before, Lin Chen's 8 transformation could only temporarily increase his cultivation by less than 20%. The 5 doppelgangers descended beside Lin Chen, and their auras surged. With the Azure Dragon's possession, Lin Chen borrowed 900 million dragon power from the Azure Dragon and adjusted his state to the highest. Swoosh! Lin Chen used Imperial Sky with the power of the odd crystal, and 5 streaks of rainbow light shot towards Long Yi Jing. Your battle technique is passable, but your cultivation is too weak. Break! Long Yi Jing didn't even need to raise his hand. With a single word, his Saint Chi and spiritual power shattered Lin Chen's Imperial Sky. All his doppelgangers rushed forward. Lin Chen only used 2 doppelgangers to block 2 Third Heaven Sage Realm experts. Clang! Clang! Rumble! The 2 holy light tornadoes swirled together. The 2 doppelgangers used their movement techniques to deal with each other. The difference between the two was too great. In a one-on-one situation, the doppelgangers could only barely parry the attacks using instant light doppelganger. If the battle dragged on, he would definitely lose. If this continues, my doppelgangers will continue to die. As expected, the winner is still this guy. So what if he's on the Demon Genius list? Die. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes, and the azure light between his eyebrows surged. Annihilation turned into 5 beams of spiritual light that crushed through the void. The remaining 3 doppelgangers surrounded Long Yi Jing. Long Yi Jing sneered. You want to play with spiritual power in front of me? Lin Chen, you're still far from it. His palms pressed down. There was no earth-shattering momentum, but it was as if the entire sky was being suppressed. Lin Chen's annihilation was crushed into countless spiritual fragments. All his Saint Chi was sent into the wheel light, odd crystal. The doppelgangers held the +12 azure moon, and an aurora flowed through the blade. Clang! The doppelgangers slashed out, and the spinning bright blade light split into 5. The majestic aura pierced through the sky. His opponent was on the Demon Genius list. Lin Chen used his killer move as soon as he met him. Even with the support of Tai time and space, Lin Chen's cultivation was comparable to a saint with 13 to 14 saint points. However, there was still a huge gap between him and someone on the Demon Genius list. Against such an existence, ordinary moves couldn't even touch the corner of his clothes. The moment Lin Chen attacked, he used God's Tears at full force. Chapter 1154. Bang! The 5 gods' tears saber beams exploded, and their sharpness increased dramatically. Thousands upon thousands of saber energy fragments that were like broken jade flew towards the dragon right crystal. These sword chi fragments contained pure strength, holy power, and spiritual power. The 3 types of energy shattered together, and the attack engulfed the dragon Yi Jing like a flash flood. This attack caused the dragon Yi Jing's expression to change. Caught off guard, he couldn't put up a perfect defense. 10,000 lightning heavenly dipper break. Long I Ching let out a thunderous roar. An aura as powerful as the mountain sea prison suddenly burst out from his body. The Saint Chi in his 30 saint acupoints condensed into thunderclouds at lightning speed, and thousands of purple lightning bolts shot out like giant pythons, sweeping across the universe. It's not that simple. Lin Shun used a slowing rune, expending 15,000 points of rune energy. A grayish-white rune descended from the sky and sealed the dragon I Ching's position, causing his attack to slow down. However, it didn't seal him. The slowing rune didn't slow down the dragon I Ching's movements. It only weakened his attack by 30%. As the dragon I Ching blocked the attack, his holy power surged like an abyss. In this state, Lin Shun's slowing rune couldn't achieve the effect of a sneak attack. Bang, 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 bang. The shards of blade power poured down and struck on the thousands of zhang tall thundercloud. The dazzling lightning bolts and the blade power shards clashed against each other. The sound of the explosion was like the end of the world, and it reverberated throughout the space. It was as if the sky was going to be torn apart. If the dragon I Ching hadn't sealed the space, this battle would have alerted the experts of the southern border. What a peerless saber art! Chi-shattering, spirit-shattering, and force-shattering. Shattering these three types of power, the power of the saber art increased instead of decreasing, catching people off guard. It also has the ability to appear and disappear unpredictably. Brat, you have too many secrets. I've changed my mind. Dragon I Ching, who was in the middle of the heavenly ice corrosion storm, stepped out. His eyes were filled with lightning bolts, and his spiritual power was like the sun and moon. Lin Shun narrowed his eyes. The pressure coming from the dragon-right crystal was far greater than any third heaven true saint he had encountered before, other than Xiao Jing, the little demon empress, and Han Yiji, who was ranked first on the genius ranking. No one below the fourth heaven true saint realm could compare to him. Super Chaos innate skill has been triggered 3 times. Host can use it at any time. My god's tears still can't penetrate his defense, even with the ultimate skill and the rune of slowing weakening his strength. I can only force him to consume some of his holy chi. I had to find a breakthrough. More than 1,000 years ago, the concubine of the master of the Long family in the Green region gave birth to a mysterious baby with a membrane of thunder. When this infant was born, the head of the Long family placed it in the void lightning pool at home. After 10 years of nurturing, the infant broke through the lightning barrier all over its body and woke up. It was already a Yuan venerate when it was born. His spiritual power was even at the Dharma stage. The entire Long family was shocked. The Long family's ancestor personally came out of seclusion to appraise this child's bone structure. The result was shocking. This child had inherited his father's innate Thunder King physique and even had signs of atavism. He had obtained the innate Thunder sacred physique, which could absorb thousands of ancient lightning bolts to refine his body for his own use. His spiritual will was refined and nurtured by the lightning pool. It was extraordinary and extremely intelligent. At the age of 5, he was familiar with thousands of ancient alchemy manuals. At the age of 10, he became a level 6 alchemist. His talent in alchemy was outstanding. At the age of 15, he became an emperor and shocked all the regions. After that, he obtained the inheritance of the ancient Thunder Sage and the ancient Thunder Prison and became a prominent figure in the Long family. 1,000 years later, he entered the genius ranking with an extremely strong stance. This person was Long I Ching. He was the king of thunder and lightning, and he was also a saint whose spiritual power had entered the sage realm. Rumble. Long I Ching, who was in the sea of lightning, reached out and clenched his fist. The 7 lightning-type odd crystals on his body flashed like an ancient lightning beast and crushed the 5-sword fury, sky-piercing sword fury. Long I Ching waved one hand, and his white robe was dyed with layers of lightning. When the lightning barrier resisted the power of the ultimate skill, he held a lightning sword in one hand and slashed across the sky. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The doppelganger pulled the azure imperial thunder's sacred bow, and the feather of lucky light, which was supported by instant light doppelganger and the power of the odd crystals, was shot down. When the doppelganger used dragon flash to retreat, it was still cut by the aftershocks of the sword light, and one of its arms was almost cut off. This bastard also has 30 saint points. Like the little demon empress, he is also at the peak of the third heaven sage realm, and is only one step away from the aperture augmentation realm. He is much stronger than an ordinary third heaven sage realm cultivator. It is too difficult for a sage realm cultivator to fight above his level. I can't take more than a few moves from him in a head-on battle. I have to create an opportunity. Lin Chun flapped his sacred phoenix wings and retreated rapidly. Rumble. Long Yijing's lightning sword slashed the second time at Lin Chun. When the sword slashed through the void, it split open the sky. Bang, bang, bang. The lightning shattered the space, but Lin Chun disappeared without a trace. Even I don't have a speed comparable to an orange tier movement technique. Kid, I'm getting more and more curious about you. However, I have a way to suppress you. As Long Yijing laughed coldly, his mental energy suddenly surged and gathered in the surrounding space. Lin Chun silently released the 4-technique Vanishing Shadows, but it perfectly disappeared into the darkness. Consume 230 runes of energy to activate Penetration, Charge, and Heavenly Invisibility runes. The Heavenly Invisibility rune's absolute invisibility effect was not suitable for orange-tier battle techniques. In terms of assassination, Lin Chun could only bet on the Vanishing Shadow, Flying Dagger, Quadruple Kill. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 streaks of light descended and formed human figures. Lin Chun, who was flapping his sacred phoenix wings, couldn't help but be shocked. The 3 of them looked like Long Yijing as well. They were doppelgangers formed by his mental energy and sacred power. Long Yijing laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. Lin Chun, I specialize in doppelgangers as well. This time, don't even think about relying on your doppelgangers to cover your retreat. Bang, bang, bang. Lin Chun's Vanishing Shadows quadruple kill was blocked by the powerful mental energy barrier around the 3 of them. What a strange sneak attack. Even I didn't sense it. Long Yijing was shocked. Rumble. Long Yijing's 3 doppelgangers charged towards Lin Chun's 3 doppelgangers. These doppelgangers had the same battle consciousness as the main body and possessed 30% of Long Yijing's strength. However, they couldn't use the power of the odd crystal. Even so, Long Yijing's doppelgangers were still stronger than most third heaven true saints. Lin Chun's 3 doppelgangers were immediately suppressed. System kill technique. Lin Chun didn't hesitate. As long as they were still alive, he would use his killing technique on them. Layers of heavenly ice corrosion and heavenly purgatory flames enveloped Long Yijing's doppelgangers. While the killing technique helped to relieve some of the pressure, the doppelgangers continued to use ultimate restoration and swallowed Long Qingguo to stabilize their injuries. If the doppelgangers used runes to recover every time they were injured, it would consume too much energy. He had obtained more than 1,000,000 runes from killing 9 fourth heaven true saints. He wouldn't have so much runes in the short term. That fellow sacred cave has dimmed a lot. His strength has decreased by a lot. The consumption of his doppelgangers has reduced his strength by a lot. We can still fight before he recovers. When he saw this scene, Lin Chun's eyes flashed fiercely. He had found a breakthrough. Chapter 1155. Your holy dragon is injured, and your clones are suppressed. Let's see who can protect you. The dragon ritual crystal pointed out, and 10,000 lightning bolts shot out, converging into a lightning rainbow. Lin Chun flapped his sacred phoenix wings and used dragon flash to dodge it. Whoosh! In the center of Lin Chun's palm, a jade bottle appeared. Inside it was a bright blue elixir, its entire body emitting a blue dragon's aura. Peak grade, 3 holy pill, watermoon break holy pill. This pill was Lin Chen's divine alchemy canon. If a saint with a water-type cultivation technique consumed it, there was a 60% chance of breaking through one holy point below the first heaven true saint realm, and a 40% chance of breaking through to the second heaven true saint realm. There was a 20% chance of breaking through to the third heaven true saint realm, excluding the 31 holy points. A 20% chance might seem low, but it was extremely high. There were very few holy pills that could directly increase one's cultivation realm. This pill also had a powerful effect. If a person with 13 holy points or below were to consume it, there was an extremely low chance of obtaining a strand of water dragon's aura to help them break through. The value of this pill far exceeded that of a low-grade odd crystal. If news of this spread, countless saints with water-type cultivation techniques would fight to find Lin Shun and beg him to refine this pill. Bang! Lin Shun crushed the jade bottle and caught the pill before it could escape. He swallowed it. Boom! His saint essence was like a galaxy. When he swallowed it, it passed through every meridian in Lin Chen's body and surged into his holy points. Lin Chen's 9 holy points were instantly filled with saint essence. It was like a kettle that was about to overflow. At this moment, Lin Chen's spiritual star C, in his spiritual consciousness, flashed with a huge amount of spiritual power. He split his attention to activate the water-type odd crystal to refine this pill. Lin Shun released the pressure of refining this pill to all his clones. Long Yijing's expression changed slightly, and she sneered. Using your first heaven true saint realm cultivation to refine a grade 3 holy pill in battle. Lin Shun, I think you're crazy. You're courting death. Lin Shun held his spear, and the corners of his mouth curled up. He was overflowing with arrogance. We don't know who will die. At this time, in the southern border of the Tsanyu region, today, the southern border was bustling with noise and excitement. Geniuses from various rank 3 and rank 4 sects had come to admire the top geniuses on the genius ranking. Today was the day where Fairy Crimson would select a husband for her disciples. There would also be a battle for the Demon Genius list. Fairy Crimson had a mysterious background. She looked like a celestial fairy who had descended from the heavens. She was also a nominal elder of a 6th grade sect, Crimson Moon Hall. She had few disciples, but all of them were top-notch geniuses. Many Saint Stage geniuses who were ranked in the top 1,000 of the genius ranking had gathered at this banquet. Their intention was to fight for the Demon Genius List candidate token. On the Red Moon platform, geniuses gathered. The airflow whistled as battle chi filled the air. Streaks of battle light rose into the clouds, and the brilliance of the odd crystals floated from time to time. Many absolute arts clashed with each other, causing the platforms to shake continuously. Dozens of figures crisscrossed, dazzling the onlookers. So this is the strength of the top 2,000 experts on the genius ranking. They are as strong as monsters. I heard that many Saint Stage geniuses who are ranked in the top 1,000 of the genius ranking are also here to compete for the Demon Genius list. I'm afraid this is just a warm-up match. It's just a warm-up match for Fairy Crimson to select a husband for her disciples. Wouldn't it be even more exaggerated if they compete for the Demon Genius list later? That's right. I saw Yin Wushuang, who was ranked 992 on the genius ranking yesterday. That lord is really a genius. He's a Saint Stage alchemist and a Saint Stage genius. Hee, I didn't pay a huge price to get the invitation letter for this trip in vain. Last night, I accompanied a few rich ladies to get in. Damn it, my waist still hurts a little. As long as one of the geniuses on the platform is willing to cooperate with my Chamber of Commerce, I can earn back my capital and interest. In the seats below the platform, there were people from various forces who were watching the battle on the platform intently. Next to the platform was a huge ship decorated in crimson. It was tens of thousands of feet long and was decorated with floral decorations and red decorations. There were also tall buildings on the ship, and its entire body was flowing with a faint silver light. It was actually a large space sacred artifact. In front of the red ship, there was a pavilion covered with red curtains. 8 beauties that could cause the downfall of countries and cities were standing there, slender and elegant. The 8 of them were like the white snow of spring, late autumn, and warm winter. It could be said that each of them had their own merits. They were all beauties that were 1 in 100,000, or even 1 in a million. Some of them covered their mouths and smiled charmingly. Some of them were charming and charming. Some of them were as cold as snow and proud as lotuses. One of them had a voice like an oriole, one had a waist like a willow, one had a voluptuous figure, and one had jade-like legs. It could be said that they were the most beautiful scenery in the world, and it was hard to take one's eyes off them. If a saint stage expert were to observe carefully, he would find that the cultivation of these women was only inferior to the geniuses in the subfield. They were not on the genius ranking, but they were comparable to the super geniuses. At the highest point of the ship, there was a windowsill of a boudoir. A graceful, swan-like figure was faintly visible through the window. It was enough to make people feel that this was a peerless beauty in the world. Whoosh! A beam of holy light descended. When the crowd looked carefully, they could not help but gasp slightly. The newcomer was dressed in snow-white clothes. He had a peerless demeanor, and his facial features were like that of a banished immortal, transcending the difference between men and women. He was like a peerless fairy, but there was a unique shyness between his eyebrows. Could this be the legendary son of amazement? The one known as the most beautiful youth in the sacred boundary, Haniji? Oh my God! The first on the genius ranking is also here. Fairy Scarlet is so powerful that she even managed to invite him. The various forces gasped slightly. Some of the saint stage geniuses sitting in the dark had dignified eyes. They could feel that there was a huge power hidden in Han Iji's body, which made them tremble. When Han Iji arrived, he looked around as if he was looking for something. A moment later, he sat on the other side of the platform, causing the women present to look at him with admiration from time to time. 2 hours later, the battle on the platform was over. The geniuses did not fight to the death, so the battle would not last for too long. After a strict selection, there were 10 geniuses who won this time. These 10 geniuses were all ranked in the top 1,500 of the genius ranking. Their cultivation and foundation were so strong that they could challenge a saint with a saint point as a 5th tribulation combat emperor. In the vast sacred boundary, they could be called the top geniuses. With their status, it will be a piece of cake for them to marry a beautiful wife or concubine. Why do they come from so far away? In fact, these geniuses were supported by the sects and families behind them to participate in the banquet. The reason was simple. When a saint stage expert who had transcended the mortal realm gave birth to offspring, their offspring could inherit the bloodline talent. If both parents were saints, their bloodline talent would even surpass their parents'. However, if one parent was not a saint, their bloodline would be diluted after reproduction, and the offspring might not be able to perfectly inherit the talent of their father or mother. Therefore, the foundation of both parties was extremely important. The geniuses were never short of beautiful women. What they lacked were extremely talented women who could advance to the saint stage. Therefore, in the sacred boundary, the more powerful the female geniuses were, the more popular they would be, because their offspring would have more potential. Geniuses who have come from afar, thank you for your hard work. A clear voice that was as clear as the mountains and flowing water resounded clearly in everyone's ears. The 8 beauties, who were laughing and talking, immediately quieted down. There was silence on the platform. Fairy Scarlet had spoken. Those who pass the banquet will have the opportunity to tie the knot with my beloved disciples. Next, my disciples will choose their husbands. For those who are not chosen, I will still reward you handsomely. I won't let you come here in vain. Fairy Scarlet's voice was elegant and arrogant, but no one could feel any disgust towards her. It was as if she was born this way. Then the 8 beauties with different styles stepped onto the platform, raising the spirits of the 10 geniuses. In the end, only 4 geniuses returned with beauties. In the end, those who were able to return with the beauty in their arms were all looked at with envy by everyone present. The four beauties who did not choose their husbands would stay until the next round. The next round was the banquet for the genius ranking candidates. The geniuses who could compete for the genius ranking candidates were all peerless geniuses ranked in the top 1,000 of the genius ranking. Such geniuses were naturally more outstanding. However, the four beauties did not think that the geniuses would take a fancy to them. Therefore, after passing the next round, the geniuses would choose them, not the other way around. As long as they were chosen, they could no longer refuse. Next is the banquet for the genius ranking candidates. Fairy Scarlet's words lifted the spirits of the many Saint Stage geniuses who were waiting on the platform. The main event was about to begin. Only Haniji was still looking around, her heart full of doubts. Strange, why hasn't the class monitor come yet? I vaguely sensed that the spiritual imprint I left on him was close to the southern border. Chapter 1156. In the darkness, a pair of eyes quietly opened. It's actually an emissary. May I ask what important orders the Lord has for me this time? The creature in the darkness asked in surprise. A howling gale swept up in the void, and a figure appeared. His hair danced in the wind, and two horns on his head were like giant spiral thorns. His eyes were as deep as the abyss, and from time to time, a strange light flashed through them. The Lord's main body is still in seclusion in the sky outside the clouds. He sent out a thought and personally ordered you to capture a person. The man said. The creature in the darkness was full of surprise. He had dominated the sacred boundary for countless eras and had assassinated countless top creatures for the Lord. There were dragons, demons, and even the extinct Zerg and the missing Azuras. Today's target was a weak human. The Lord's orders are to capture him alive as much as possible. If you can't bring him back alive, bring him back with an intact corpse. If there's no corpse, then don't ever come back. The creature in the darkness trembled. Then what's the target? A human race, genius ranking. Title, God's Descent, Lin Shun. On the Red Moon platform, the Scarlet Fairy did not reveal her true appearance. She hid behind the curtain and said indifferently, the competition for the candidate token is limited to males. It's divided into two parts. All the participating geniuses must agree to my request. If you pass the assessment and get the candidate token, you must also agree to one of my requests. The assessment this time is divided into three parts. Combat strength is not the first. What I need are male geniuses who are full of tricks and have excellent looks and temperament. Geniuses who are willing and able to accept my conditions can stand on the platform. That will count as registration. The powerhouses of the various forces looked at each other. Sure enough, this feast was not just a test of combat strength. How can I miss out on such a good thing? The young man held a fan and calmly walked into the venue. His nose bridge was high, and his eyebrows were straight. He looked like a handsome young master who had walked out of a splashing painting. It's young master Lien Wushuang. It said that he recently participated in an alchemy ceremony. I didn't expect him to come here so soon. He's too outstanding. He's both a sage genius and a sage-level alchemist. Many female geniuses were overjoyed, and Lien Wushuang had a look of victory on his face. Last time, I encountered that monster Lin Chen. This time, it should be this young master's turn to obtain the candidate token, right? That guy offended Long Yi Jing, who's on the demon genius list. Who knows where he's hiding now? While Lien Wushuang looked like he was in control of the entire situation, another genius appeared. His figure was tall and slender, and he stood there like an otherworldly spear. His face was chiseled and firm, and it revealed a trace of handsomeness. Moreover, his piercingly cold expression even added a slight sense of solemnity to him. Oh, Wei Changsheng, ranked 977 on the genius ranking. You're also participating? When Lien Wushuang was curious, there was a hint of seriousness in his eyes. For the sake of the clan's mission, success or failure doesn't matter, Wei Changsheng said calmly. Whoosh! A hurricane swept across, and a ray of sword light slashed toward him. The ray of sword light transformed into a human figure. He wore a green robe, and carried a sword on his back. With a silk scarf tied around his belt, he held a pot of wine in his hand and kept drinking. The corner of his mouth that was overflowing with the fragrance of wine was slightly raised, showing the unrestrained demeanor of a young man. I've been on the genius ranking for so many years, and it's time for me to take a step forward. The Demon Genius list is quite suitable for me. This time, I'll have to trouble all of you to make way for me. The young man in the green robe wiped the corner of his mouth and smiled. Some fifth tribulation battle emperors couldn't help but hold their breaths. Lin Hao Yu, ranked 659 on the genius ranking, Blooming Flowers Spring Drunken Sword, is also here. They're too strong. These big shots are the representatives of the future leaders of the sacred boundary. Before the crowd could finish their exclamations, the ground of the platform cracked open without any warning. A smirking face emerged from the cracked ground, grinning evilly. It said that the winner will get a beauty. I, Shi Xiaoxian, will not miss such a good opportunity. Once this person appeared, many people on the platform stood up abruptly, as if they had seen a ghost. Is he Shi Saw, one of the four great lechers? That's Shi Xiaoxian from the Eastern Sex, Northern Swing, Southern Wretch, and Western Saw. F***CK, this guy really came. So the rumors I heard a few days ago were true. Some of the women gritted their teeth in hatred. This Shi Xiaoxian from the Western Saw was worse than a beast. Everything he did was extremely wretched. He either liked to peep at others or steal women's things. The most infuriating thing was that he had written all the things about the family heads of other families and sects into a F***king novel. He knew everything about how to thank the family heads for 15 minutes, which family's madam's favorite type, which family's daughter's favorite color, the style of the king of singles, and so on. This guy was ranked 777 on the genius ranking, and the most amazing thing was that he had an orange tier body movement technique. Ordinary experts would not be able to catch him even if their cultivation level was higher. He also had a super strong backer, the identity of a young master of a 6th grade family. That was why he was not beaten to death, even though he had done extremely lewd things in the sacred boundary. In the end, he was even listed as one of the 4 great sex thieves. The 4 great sex thieves were all the public enemies of women. Therefore, when Shi Xiaoxian appeared, there was a lot of scolding outside the platform. Lady Scarlet Fairy, you can't let this kind of person participate in the competition. This kind of person will only ruin your reputation. Fairy, please think twice. Yes, how can the 4 great sex thieves participate in the fairies' banquet? Fairy, please expel and suppress this thief. In the face of many people's petitions, an unexpected answer came from behind the curtain of the void ship. She saw Shi Xiaoxian, right? I don't exclude you from participating in this banquet. However, you should know the rules. If you obtain the Monster Genius Ranking Candidate token, you must do something for me within your ability. Shi Xiaoxian whistled. No problem, Fairy, please rest assured. As long as I have enough beautiful women, even if you want the stars in the sky, I will find them for you. This answer was beyond everyone's expectations. Some experienced experts had some doubts in their hearts. What did Fairy Scarlet want to do that she would not hesitate to let someone like Shi Xiaoxian participate in the banquet? There was no lack of people who were fanatical. Today, 4 peerless geniuses in the top 1,000 of the genius ranking have gathered. They're too strong. I didn't expect to have a chance to see their peerless demeanor. What kind of assessment will Fairy Scarlet give? Don't tell me she will let them compete in the arena? Just as the atmosphere on the platform was heating up, a spatial crystal wall suddenly cracked open in the sky above the Red Moon platform. Rumble. Bang. 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 The endless explosions were like an apocalyptic natural disaster that shook the heavens and earth, alarming the automatic defense array of the Red Moon platform. What's going on? Which expert dares to fight here? This is the southern border. My God, isn't that the dragon right crystal on the genius ranking? It was actually a monster from the genius ranking. Every monster on the genius ranking was the most special new genius in the sacred boundary. Such an existence was simply a legendary existence for forces below 5th grade. The various forces were in chaos. While the sages were exclaiming in horror, the aura and sneers of the two in the void were even more shocking. Trash who relies on the power of elixirs to fight with me. I like to see how long you can last. Dragonite crystal, what are you pretending for? If we were at the same level of cultivation, I could beat you up with one hand. Many geniuses who were looking up were dumbfounded. Crazy. He must be crazy. What was going on? Which immortal had gone crazy? How dare he fight with the genius ranking? Chapter 1157. What did it mean to fight someone on the genius list? Unless one was also on the genius list, there would only be one outcome. He would be the one killing you, not you. In the 36 regions of the sacred boundary, at least on the surface, no one dared to mess with the genius list. In other words, no one dared to openly kill someone on the genius list. Otherwise, they would be hunted down and suppressed by the higher-ups of the sacred boundary. Two figures appeared out of nowhere and collided with each other as they charged out of the space crack. One of them had an endless ice storm above his head, and he was still engaged in a fierce battle. Every time the two of them collided, the shockwaves shook the sky and the earth. One of them had a sharp sword technique, as if he was blessed by the god of thunder. Every strike of his sword was accompanied by rolling thunder and lightning. It was as if he wanted to destroy everything in his way. The other person had a domineering spear technique. As he moved, layers of dragon shadow danced in the air. Bang, 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 clang, 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 clang. Even though the Red Moon platform was protected by the space barrier, it shook violently. Some of the combat emperors were so shocked that their legs trembled. Who in this world would dare to mess with someone on the genius list? Could it be that his opponent was also on the genius list? However, when they took a closer look, they realized that Long Yi Jing's opponent was a young man who had only opened 10 Saint Acupoints. The geniuses looked as if they had seen a ghost, and their minds went blank. Could it be that they had seen a ghost in broad daylight? This was not a cross-level battle, but a cross-level battle. A cross-level battle in the Saint stage? 2F** King cross levels. And he was challenging the genius list? Was this person crazy, or was the world crazy? In the past, only those on the genius list were qualified to challenge a cross-level battle in the Saint stage. Was someone on the genius list a cross-level battle today? No, I've seen that young man's portrait. It's Lin Shun. Damn, I've seen him in person. Is this guy still human? Oh my god, 10 Saint Acupoints versus 30 Saint Acupoints? And he's fighting the genius list. That's not right. I heard that Lin Shun was a genius who exploded 9 Saint Acupoints in a row. It's only been a month, and he's already opened 10 Saint Acupoints? What kind of cultivation speed is this? I'm convinced. The fact that this kid killed 9 Fourth Heaven True Saints isn't a rumor. It's true. 2F** King Ferocious. I've never seen such an outrageous genius. Even the proud and arrogant Wu Shuang was dumbfounded. His mouth was so wide open that it could fit an egg. Not long ago, he won the Pill Concoction Championship, and now he's on the cross-level monstrous talents list. Is this kid really human? Lien Wushuang's mouth twitched. It wasn't that there weren't any experts in the southern border. There were even 2 Third Heaven True Saints guarding the place. However, none of them dared to make a move. If a monster on the Monster Genius list wanted to kill someone, it was not up to them to interfere. They had no right to interfere. Unless the masters of the various powers that controlled the southern border were here, their guardian elders were not qualified to make a move. Perhaps only Fairy Crimson, with her status and identity, could stop the genius list. Super Chaos, Laceration, Assault Talents triggered. Consume 2,000 Advanced Rune Energy to activate level 6 Slow Rune. When Lin Shun used a half-orange grade battle technique to forcefully raise its power to the orange grade, it triggered a bunch of passive talents. He threw all of them at Dragon Yi Jing, and from time to time, he would use a slow rune to disrupt the rhythm of Dragon Yi Jing's attacks. Dragon I Jing's attacks were weakened again and again. The medicinal power of this peak-grade third saint pill is a little too strong. I've already broken through one saint point in the midst of the battle, but it still can't stop. Am I going to break through the 11th saint point? Lin Shan wantonly used the massive amount of saint qi that burst out from his saint points. He used Imperial Sky to attack, and the Dance of the True Dragon blocked many attacks. Imperial Sky, Gangjin Qi, and Eternal Green Light protected his body. Dance of the True Dragon was indeed an orange-grade battle technique. When Lin Shan waved the Phoenix Spear, it formed layers of Dragon Qi to protect him, leaving no gaps. For a moment, Dragon I Jing couldn't take down Lin Shan with all kinds of tricks. Lin Shan wasn't wasting time for no reason. Spent 250,000 enhancement points to upgrade Dance of the True Dragon to +10. Overall power increase, 110%. Lin Shan had been stalling for time so that he could upgrade Dance of the True Dragon. The power of an orange-grade battle technique was terrifying. During the battle on Qilin Island, it had only been 8 times stronger, and he'd killed 14 saints with God's Tear. This time, he'd spent tens of millions of enhancement points to upgrade Dance of the True Dragon to +10. Its power had more than doubled. Dragon I Jing's Saint Qi was chaotic, and his blood was chaotic. Although Dragon I Jing wasn't injured, his power was weakened. On the other hand, although Lin Shan was injured, he was getting stronger and stronger. This kid's spear technique is getting stronger and stronger. Dragon I Jing was shocked. A special secret technique? A temporary increase in power? No, he doesn't seem to be going all out. This is a complete upgrade. If this continues, I won't be able to take him down. I can't hold back anymore. At this moment, Dragon I Jing finally let go of the contempt he had for Lin Shan. He couldn't help but acknowledge Lin Chen's strength. It wasn't the kind of temporary increase in power, but his true strength had forced him to use his true strength. Lightning Killing Claw. Dragon I Jing's sword technique combined with the claw technique. He injected his Saint Qi into 7 lightning odd crystals and struck out with his claw. In an instant, the Thunder Snake Dragon Ritual Crystal's 5 fingers clawed out a crystallized lightning claw that was 1,000 feet long and charged towards Lin Shan. The lightning claw pressed down. It didn't seem strong, but it easily turned a large part of the sky into chaos. The light in the sky above the Red Moon platform suddenly dimmed, and everyone was shocked. Orange-grade ultimate technique. An orange-grade ultimate technique executed by someone on the monster ranking is too terrifying. With such power, I'm afraid other than those on the 4th Heaven Sage realm or those on the monster ranking, few 3rd Heaven Sage realm cultivators at the perfect stage can withstand it. He even used the power of 7 odd crystals. He's going all out. A few Saint Realm geniuses were shocked. This attack made them realize the difference between them and those on the monster ranking. Rumble. An invincible aura erupted from Lin Chen's body. At this moment, the 10 Saint Acupoints in Great Unity Space were constantly throbbing. They merged with the Saint Acupoints in his body, and all the Saint Qi was injected into the 6 odd crystals in his body. Dazzling Gold, Water Blue, Flame Red, Earth Yellow, Blazing Light, and Darkness. 6 different lights flowed on Lin Chen's Ghost Phoenix spear like dragons. Lin Shan waved the Ghost Phoenix spear, and his spear technique was like a dragon. Thousands of 6-color dragon shadow images danced out, and Saint Qi covered the sky, turning into a 6-colored light that pierced through the sky. Many saints were shocked. To be able to use such a killer move with 10 Saint Acupoints, he was a monster. But it wasn't enough. His opponent was on the monster ranking. Slow Rune. 10,000 points of rune energy disappeared, and a gray talisman that was several hundred feet long fell from the sky. When it exploded, it froze the void, causing the monstrous lightning claw to stagnate for a moment. Its power was reduced by about 20%. This move again, Long I Jing's eyes narrowed. Instant light split shadow. True Dragon breaks the sky. Lin Shan let out a loud roar. and the 6 rays of light that were as straight as a rainbow suddenly split into 5. What? He can actually use it 5 times. A faint cry of surprise came from the crimson ship. Chapter 1158. The lightning claw collided with the 5 rays of 6-colored aura. Chi! Bang! The terrifying shock wave of the collision was like an apocalyptic disaster, rolling out a lightning storm thousands of meters long. In the middle of the storm were 6 different colors of energy, causing the entire Red Moon platform and the giant ship to shake continuously. Lin Shun chewed Long Kingwo, and his dried Saint Acupoints were quickly filled up by the medicinal power of the elixir. Lin Chen's eyes were filled with excitement and a strong fighting spirit that couldn't be concealed. It made the Saints' scalps go numb. This kid is fighting against a monster list, but he's getting more and more energetic. He's really a monster. True Dragon Breaks the Heavens took on Long Yi Jing's orange ultimate skill. Even if his strength was weakened by various factors, this still represented Lin Chen's strength. As long as he became a saint, even a monster list couldn't suppress him. When the storm dissipated, everyone clearly saw the 6 rays of light in Lin Chen's body. Hiss! Everyone below the Red Moon stage sucked in a breath of cold air. 6 odd crystals? He's only inferior to Long Yi Jing on the monster list by 1 odd crystal. That's not right. I remember that the highest record for a First Heaven Sage was 4 odd crystals, right? What kind of freak is this guy? He can control 6 odd crystals at First Heaven Sage. Isn't he afraid of his Saint Acupoints becoming chaotic and exploding? Many geniuses were confused. Lin Chen's matters were getting more and more ridiculous. Controlling more odd crystals wasn't necessarily better. The consumption of odd crystals was terrifying, and controlling more odd crystals would increase exponentially. This was undoubtedly a fatal flaw for saints who found it difficult to replenish their saint aura. Only by controlling the most suitable range would odd crystals become a saint's strongest weapon. Otherwise, it would only become a burden to one's strength and hurt oneself before killing the enemy. Boom! The wind and clouds gathered and the universe changed. Thousands of thunderous roars split the sky. Long Yi Jing held the 3-foot sacred sword and was bathed in lightning. He resisted the ultimate skill and walked out slowly with a gloomy expression. Lightning flashed on the tip of his sword. Lin Shun, you've angered me. I'll take your life with this sword. Long Yi Jing was going to use an even more terrifying orange tier, unique skill. Lin Shun narrowed his eyes as 9-colored starlight gathered in his palm. For the time being, he was unable to fire a stronger shot than before. The specialty of True Dragon's dance was gain the upper hand after striking. The more attacks he blocked in a defensive stance, the stronger his counterattack would be. Lin Shun had been passively defending before. In addition to crazily strengthening his cultivation method, he was also accumulating strength. Now, Long Yi Jing was obviously not going to give him the chance. If young Master Long wants to fight, then let me accompany you, all right? The young man's laughter was like a ray of sunshine in the cold winter, giving life to the world. The young man's silver hair was shining, and his clothes were whiter than snow. His demeanor was peerless, and his eyes were flowing with deep and boundless spiritual fluctuations. As long as one stared into those eyes that shone like the moon and stars, they would forever be lost in the boundless spiritual world and become intoxicated. The gentleness between his brows revealed the shyness of a young man, and his dimples revealed a beauty that could cause the downfall of a nation to pale in comparison. Number 1 on the genius ranking, Han Yiji, you want to disturb me too? Long Yi Jing frowned. Han Yiji stood beside Lin Shun and smiled, stunning countless women. He smiled and said, suppressing and bullying others is not the style of the genius ranking, right? If young Master Long still wants to fight, we don't mind accompanying you to the end. We? So the information about the Sacred Burial Mountain Range is true. Oomph. Long Yi Jing snorted and put away his sword. He was not afraid of Han Yiji, But if the two of them joined forces, it would be unrealistic for him to kill or take Lin Shan away. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Long Yijing's clone returned and entered his body. Lin Shan's 3 clones also returned, and they were all heavily injured. At this moment, something unexpected happened. Rumble. At this moment, the space shook, and a faint 9-colored light rose from the space thousands of miles away in the south. The system's light flickered continuously. Received 50,000 high-grade battle aura essence, 10,000 high-grade health, 2,999 high-grade rune energy, 2,000 talent points, 40,000 enhancement points. The divine dragon's light flashed and returned to the clear snow plant pouch, spitting out a divine body. Long Yijing's expression changed slightly. Lin Shan, you dare to touch my people? Lin Shan's lips curled up, and he laughed out loud. Brother Yijing, have you had too many wet dreams that your brain has gone stupid? You're allowed to kill me, but I'm not allowed to kill your people. Do you think this is a game of grass, mud, horse jumping over a sand wall? Rumble. Long Yijing was enraged, and the space around him shattered into paste. Han Yiji's forehead flashed with a faint spiritual light, and she smiled without saying anything. Whoosh! A ray of light flashed and appeared beside Long Yijing. It was the third heaven true saint follower, and his face was ashen. Young master, elder and perished together with that brat's 2 doppelgangers. Even his saint body was swallowed by a saint dragon. The mouths of the experts below the platform twitched violently. Was this brat still human? He had used 10 saint points to fight against those on the demon genius list, and he had even killed one of their saints. Long Yijing placed his palm on the hilt of his sword, and after a few gloomy moments, he did not draw his sword. Instead, he returned to his usual elegant and graceful self. Good, very good. Lin Shan from the Black Horse Club is really something. I'll owe you this debt for now, and there will be a time to collect it back. After losing a 3rd heaven true saint, even he would be reprimanded and punished by his family. Once the clone entered his body, Long Yijing looked at Han Yiji deeply. And you, Han Yiji, before you enter the demon genius list, who knows when you will meet with misfortune? Before Han Yiji could reply, Lin Shan placed his hand on Han Yiji's shoulder and gave Long Yijing the middle finger. Despicable. The corners of Long Yijing's mouth twitched. With a flick of his sleeve, he tore open the void and left with his follower. Class monitor, why do you offend powerful people wherever you go? Han Yiji mumbled, but before she could finish, Lin Shan gave her a bear hug and laughed loudly. Ha ha, my Yiji has really grown up. You can even protect me as I leave. This handsome class monitor is very pleased. Han Yiji's ears turned red, and she said softly, Class monitor, you're hugging me too tightly, huh? All of a sudden, Lin Shan's saint acupoints throbbed. This was the result of the Water Moon Sage Breakthrough Pills Water Dragon Breath. Lin Shan immediately sat cross-legged in the void and used 10,000 runes to replenish his clones. 5 clones sat cross-legged in the void and broke through to the next realm. When the various powers and experts saw the young man sitting cross-legged in the void, they couldn't help but gasp in amazement. He had faced the demon genius list head-on and escaped unscathed. He had even killed a true saint. With this kind of battle record, he was worthy of being called a genius who could bring about a revolution. Han Yiji cupped her fists and said, Fairy, he is also here to participate in the banquet. I wonder if you can give him some time? A voice of approval rang out from the ship. And no problem. At this time, Lin Shan was focused on breaking through to the next realm. During the battle with Long Yijing, the domineering medicinal energy had broken through his 10th saint acupoint. Under normal circumstances, a 1st heaven true saint would need to use other methods to refine the medicinal energy of the Water Dragon Breakthrough Pill. Lin Shan was completely relying on Tai Emptiness's double holy points, as well as the opportunity to fight and refine his doppelganger's spiritual energy to consume the medicinal power. 2 hours later, Lin Shan's aura reached its peak. Everyone's hearts skipped a beat. Was he going to break through again? Chapter 1159. However, with a rumbling sound, the 11th hexagon star on Lin Chen's body was not fully activated. It only flashed for a moment before it dimmed. Everyone was stunned. He didn't break through? Phew, it's good that he didn't break through. If we let this kid break through 2 saint points in a month, we won't be able to live. A certain veteran saint below the Red Moon stage blushed with shame. F***, I didn't break through. My foundation is so solid that I'm just a hair's breadth away from breaking through. Lin Chen looked at the 10 shining saint points in his body and was speechless. What a pity. Although the water dragon break sage pill is powerful, it can only be used once. Looks like I can only find another opportunity to break through next time. While Lin Chen was feeling regretful, his consciousness entered Qing Shui's plant pouch. His 10,000 immortals palm and dragon blood tree were growing very well. When Lin Chen wanted to count the spoils of war from the saint body that he had exchanged for by sacrificing his 2 clones, the scene in front of him instantly shocked Lin Chen. Inside Qing Shui's plant pouch, the jade-like rod was floating in the air. The dragon right crystal's follower's saint body was turning into a faint stream of light and being slowly absorbed by it. 10 energy slots appeared on the long end of the rod, and the 4th slot was about to be filled. Boom! In the end, when the saint body was completely absorbed by the rod, its energy slot stopped at the 7th slot. Lin Chen's consciousness seemed to have been struck by lightning. Could it be that this rod is a plant of providence seed, produced by absorbing the energy of a saint's body? If that was the case, then if Lin Chen crazily slaughtered saints in the future, would he have an endless supply of plant of providence seeds? What did it mean to produce a large number of plant of providence seeds? It meant wealth and resources. In the sacred boundary, these could all be converted into the owner's strength. As soon as this thought appeared, Lin Chen immediately suppressed it. Phew, I almost did something crooked. I will not become another clear sky saint king, unless it is someone who is my enemy or has touched my bottom line. Lin Chen, will not be someone who kills indiscriminately. This rod is ultimately just a supplementary method. The direction in which I want to become stronger should be decided by myself. As he strengthened his conviction, Lin Chen's spirit unknowingly became more complete, and his fighting spirit became even stronger. Even though I managed to kill a 3rd Heaven True Saint, I still used up 200,000 points of runic energy and 100,000 talent points. If I can open up 11 Saint apertures and use them to support Tai Ikong, it won't be so difficult for me to deal with the monsters on the Heavenly Devil rankings. The battle with Long Yijing was purely because he had used his doppelganger to fight. If he had used his true strength, Lin Chen would not have been able to stop him. It was not that the dragon Yijing had chosen the wrong person. If he had not controlled Lin Chen's doppelganger, he could have used his doppelganger to confuse the enemy while his real body slipped away. It can only be said that Lin Chen had too many tricks up his sleeve, which limited his strength on the genius list. When Lin Chen opened his eyes again, he realized that there were countless pairs of eyes staring at him. He turned his head to look at the crimson ship and clicked his tongue in wonder. Is this Fairy Scarlet's banquet? Lin Chen landed on the platform and laughed loudly. Black Horse Club, Lin Chen, is here to participate in Fairy Scarlet's banquet and compete for the candidate token. I wonder if I can register? Fairy Scarlet's voice drifted out. Hee, Your Excellency Lin Chen's strength is extraordinary, and his courage is extraordinary. How can I refuse? You are welcome to register. Celestial Scarlet's answer surprised her beloved disciples. It was very rare for them to see their master praise someone. Apart from Shi Shaoxian, all the geniuses' expressions were solemn. In terms of pure combat strength, none of them were a match for Lin Chen. The difficulty of competing with this monster for the candidate token was not ordinary. Clang! 2 streaks of sword light shot out like gods. 2 more geniuses had arrived. Both of them were extraordinarily handsome. The elder brother was heroic and awe-inspiring. The younger brother was gentle and elegant, like a delicate scholar. It was just that the sharpness that occasionally flashed across his face made people feel that he was an extraordinary person. The two of them had opened 11 holy points, and their faces were 90% similar. Were they actually twins? Geniuses ranking 455 and 456, Golden Flame Twin Swords, are here to participate in Fairy Scarlet's banquet. The geniuses' expressions were solemn. Another pair of troublesome fellows had arrived. Whoosh! 3 streaks of holy light were as beautiful as jade, forming a large number of palaces and pavilions in the void. 3 handsome geniuses slowly walked out of them. The 3 sons of Lution are here to participate in Fairy Scarlet's banquet. One by one, the famous geniuses arrived, and the scene became more and more lively. The female geniuses' eyes were full of peach blossoms. These top geniuses were all dragons and phoenixes among men, each with their own merits. Some outsiders still did not understand why only handsome geniuses were chosen. These geniuses had different thoughts. Some wanted to get close to Fairy Scarlet, while others wanted to compete for the candidate token and enter the 10 Years Holy War. Lin Shun touched his chin, took out an ancient mirror, and smiled at his handsome face. If this is purely a competition of handsomeness, then what's the point of competing? Can't they just award me the prize? Some geniuses heard him talking to himself, and the corners of their mouths twitched violently, and Han Yiji, the first on the genius ranking, had actually appeared as a specially invited judge. Many people did not understand what was going on. Registration time is over. Welcome to the 13 geniuses present. A fragrant wind swept out, and a beautiful figure slowly walked out of the giant crimson ship. Everyone on the platform could not help but hold their breaths. The beauty had beautiful eyebrows, snow-white skin, jade-like shoulders, and fiery red lips. Her pair of beautiful peach blossom eyes, which seemed to be dripping with water, made countless men crazy. Her long crimson dress perfectly highlighted her graceful means. The curve of her dress seemed to be about to burst the front of her robe, making some sages with good mental fortitude secretly swallow their saliva. She was like a peerless beauty who served the king in the palace. Even Lin Shun was amazed. If Daji was still alive, she would not be as beautiful as she was. But in the next moment, Lin Chen's pupils shrank. He stared at Fairy Scarlet and exclaimed subconsciously, "So big, so big." 2 exclamations sounded at the same time. Lin Shun and Shi Shaoxian exclaimed at the same time. Many women glanced at Shi Shaoxian and Lin Shun with disdain, then looked at Lin Shun with surprise. Inwardly, they clicked their tongues in wonder. Could it be that this brother Lin is a kindred spirit of mine? Han Yiji face-palmed. Fairy Scarlet said indifferently, as if she did not hear them. In the first round of this competition, you need to find 6 tokens called Scarlet Moon Jades in a nest of sacred beasts. Those who obtain the Moon Jades will pass the first round. There are more than 5 sacred beasts in the nest, and the 2 strongest female sacred beasts are comparable to the perfected Third Heaven True Saint Realm. Fairy Scarlet waved her sleeve, and a giant spatial door opened out of thin air. In addition, the rules of the first round are contestants are not allowed to attack each other. You can fight with the sacred beasts, but you're not allowed to kill any of the sacred beasts in the nest. If you violate any of the rules, you will be eliminated. Your only goal is to find and obtain the tokens. The time limit for this assessment is 15 days. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. The purpose of this assessment was a little inexplicable. Most importantly, he had discovered a big secret of Fairy Scarlet. Chapter 1160. This is the Scarlet Moon Jade, Fairy Scarlet said indifferently as she held an exquisite and translucent blood-red jade in her hand. It is hidden in a random location in the Void Plane. 4 of them are hidden in the layers of the 2 strongest sacred beasts. The token belongs to whoever grabs it first. After the token is obtained, no one else is allowed to attack the holder of the token. Violators will be eliminated. Scarlet Fairy's secret is too big. So big that even I can't handle it. TSK, TSK, TSK. Lin Chen's eyes flickered, and he smiled playfully. Be careful, class monitor. Scarlet Fairy's intentions are unclear, and I can't guess what she's thinking. Han Iji transmitted her voice to Lin Shun, and he winked at Han Iji. Everyone, please enter the secret realm. After Scarlet Fairy spoke, Lien Wushuang took the lead and flew into the giant space gate. The 11 geniuses followed closely behind. Lin Shun walked slowly, as if he didn't recognize anyone. Those who didn't know him would think that he was here for a vacation. Whoosh! Space twisted and turned. 15 minutes later, Lin Shin's group arrived on a piece of land. This was an independent space plane. Judging from its appearance, it didn't have a master. Only Scarlet Fairy could open the space entrance here. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this time, dozens of light screens appeared in the Red Moon platform. This was a method similar to the Magic Eye Stone in 9 states. It could refract and project the situation of some areas to other areas. However, the former could be used in the space plane of the sacred boundary, while the Magic Eye Stone couldn't play its role in the sacred boundary. The tens of thousands of people in the Red Moon platform became alert as they stared at the situation on the screen, afraid that they would miss a single detail. Boom! 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 Suddenly, 5 streams of light descended from the sky. As soon as the 13 geniuses, including Lin Shun, arrived, they were surrounded by 5 figures. Everyone's heart sank. The geniuses had been surrounded from the beginning. In the mountains, the geniuses standing on top of the mountain looked solemn. These sacred beasts obviously knew that they were going to arrive here. What is Scarlet Fairy doing with this assessment? Very strong auras. I can feel 2 big guys. The situation this time is extremely serious. The 12 geniuses were on high alert, their faces solemn. Even Shi Shaoxian, who possessed an orange tier movement skill, did not make a move immediately. He could sense that 2 of the 5 big guys had terrifying auras. A fat middle-aged woman said in a low, muffled voice, "Haha," just as Jiao Er said, "A human has opened up a space channel." Another woman, who had a voluptuous body and a leopard-like face, was drooling. "Wow, sister, look, these are all handsome men. They are all the chosen ones of the human race." All the Saint Beasts were sizing up all the geniuses with a gaze similar to an old drunkard who had discovered a 1,000-year-old wine. They were also like mother beasts that were thirsting for soil, wanting to eat all the geniuses. Due to the confinement of a certain human expert, they were trapped in this plane all day long. Occasionally, some mortals would discover the spatial passageway and enter this place. However, those mortals were not even a 10,000th of the saint geniuses in front of them. To them, eating them would have the miraculous effect of breaking through the shackles. Only by becoming stronger would they be able to escape this predicament. The 2 saint beasts with the strongest auras transformed into their human forms and looked the most normal. Their waists were slender like a snake, and their faces were seductive as they licked their lips. "Ha ha! I haven't tasted a man in a long time. Get them. Don't kill them. I want to play with them properly. They are all saint geniuses, much more interesting than those mortals. Tonight, we will shake the cave until it collapses." The 5 saint beasts in human form swarmed forward. The strongest 2 released 8 billion dragon power points, and their palms were enough to cut off rivers and mountains and crush stars. It was comparable to the perfected 3rd Heaven Sage realm. The remaining 3 had 3 billion dragon power points, which was equivalent to the perfected 2nd Heaven Sage realm. Bang! 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 A great battle broke out, and 3 geniuses were injured in the first exchange. 8 billion dragon power points was simply an absolute power that crushed everyone. The twin geniuses with the title Golden Flame dual swords activated the power of their odd crystals and joined forces to unleash a startling scarlet Milky Way sword light that swept across the sky. The seductive young woman in the form of a holy beast revealed a sinister smile. Petty tricks break. Her palm whistled forward. There was no fancy technique, only endless pure power that was like 10,000 horses galloping forward, sweeping away the mountains and rivers. Bang! 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 The sword light shattered, and the two of them felt a sweetness in their throats as they retreated. Lien Wushuang released a dazzling Saint Mountain that suddenly pressed down. Lin Haoyu of the spring-drunk sword drew his sword and slashed out 1,000 times in a breath. Ripples of sword marks twisted towards the leopard-faced woman. The Lu Tian three suns pointed in one direction, and 3 black tornadoes that were like millstones enveloped a saint beast like a storm that could destroy the sky. There were 7 palm prints imprinted with the word kill in the void, and they were dozens of acres large as they ruthlessly crushed the saint beast in the void. What a powerful attack! As expected of the existence at the top of the genius list, they can form such a powerful attack in an instant. While the people on the Red Moon platform were amazed, all the attacks of the geniuses were either shattered into nothingness by the roars, or shattered into pieces by the Saint Beast's breath. Complete suppression. It seemed like the geniuses had the advantage in numbers, but they were all at a disadvantage once they fought. Although they were at the top of the genius list, their actual cultivation was between 8 to 15 saint points, and none of them were even at the late-stage Second Heaven Sage realm. But in terms of combat power, they were no match for this group of saint beasts. Among all the geniuses present, Lin Haoyu, who had released 2 clones to protect himself, was the most relaxed. The 5 saint beasts worked together and turned the mountains into dust. Everyone on the Red Moon platform was dumbfounded by the surging winds and clouds. This gap is too big. The 2 saint beasts are too terrifying. If we get rid of the 2 strongest saint beasts, maybe they can still fight. But if this continues, all the geniuses will be wiped out in the first round. They will be captured by the saint beasts. Maybe there is still hope. That's Lin Chun. He can fight with Long Yi Jing on the monstrous geniuses list. As long as he goes all out, he will definitely have a chance. That's why I said you were ignorant. The Saint Chi of a saint can destroy the heavens and earth, but it is extremely difficult to replenish it. He has only fought with the monstrous geniuses list for a short period of time. Who knows how much energy he has expended? In my opinion, he will be lucky if he has 1/3 of his full strength. Everyone on the Red Moon platform discussed fervently. Even the saints couldn't understand what Fairy Scarlet was trying to do. With her methods, she could send these geniuses into the monstrous geniuses without exposing their whereabouts. Inside the monstrous geniuses plane, the mountains split open. The situation was extremely serious. 7 geniuses had suffered minor injuries, and this was under the condition that the saint beasts were holding back. If they went all out, some of them would definitely be seriously injured. For some unknown reason, Lin Chun suppressed some of his aura to the extreme. When he flapped his holy phoenix wings, he dodged the attacks of the saint beasts. Suddenly, Lin Chun transmitted a message to all the geniuses. Everyone, if we don't join forces, we will all be eliminated. Don't hide anymore. I, Marshal Lin, will lead the charge. Let's break through first. In any case, we are not allowed to attack each other in this round. After saying that, Lin Chun snapped his fingers and launched an advanced blue-rank sure-kill skill to interfere with the 2 most powerful seductive women. In a flash, his doppelganger threw 3 rays of golden light in the direction of all the geniuses. Everyone reached out and grabbed. When they opened their palms, they saw 3 long Qingguo. Each of them had 3 long Qingguo. The strangest thing was that the long Qingguo didn't seem to have been tampered with. Its quality was excellent. All the geniuses were stunned. Could it be that Prince Lin Chun was a good person? Chapter 1161. Lin Chen's killing move and Long Qingguo surprised the geniuses. What kind of scheme was this kid planning? Did he want everyone to concentrate their firepower so that he could escape in the chaos? Or did he do something to the Long Qingguo? While the 2 doppelgangers were barely holding back a seductive young woman, Lin Chen suddenly shouted coldly, "What are you guys hesitating for? You'll all be eliminated in the first round. At most, we'll work together to break out. You guys run first, I'll be the last. If I act rashly, all of you could just run away." Seeing Lin Chen's sincerity, The 12 geniuses didn't think too much and were skeptical. 7 geniuses chose to consume the long kingwo that Lin Chen handed over, and their injuries began to heal quickly. Lucky feather. Lin Chen drew his bow and shot an arrow that split into 5, smashing the mountain range and shooting towards the leading sacred beast. South, break out with all your might. Lin Chen coldly snorted. All the geniuses had finally joined forces. Each of them had their own ulterior motives. Some wanted to use each other, and some couldn't guess what Lin Chen was thinking. Thus, they decided to beat him at his own game and join forces to break out. Everyone formed a straight line and temporarily united their fighting intent. The rules of the assessment didn't allow them to attack each other, so they didn't have to worry about the people around them attacking. The 2 strongest Saint Beasts were slightly delayed by the sure kill skills, and with Lin Chen diverting their attention, the geniuses moved like a straight arrow, breaking through several hundred miles and killing their way out of the encirclement for the first time. Want to run? You guys have quite a lot of schemes. With a roar, a majestic blood-patterned leopard appeared and slashed out a dragon-like rending blade that enveloped all the geniuses. A faint white dragon shadow flashed. Lin Chen's doppelganger raised his sword and slashed. Sword Fury Sky. 5 orange sword rainbows appeared, and the power of the fire-type odd crystal was pushed to the extreme. It burned with anger and surging pure power as it slashed the rending blade and forced the sacred leopard back. What a good doppelganger technique. Let me test it out. Another holy python appeared. This meant that these holy beasts were serious. Lin Chen's second doppelganger unleashed a flame annihilation and blocked the holy python. All the geniuses were stunned, fighting so hard. Could it be that Prince Lin Chen was really a good person? What are you waiting for? Hurry up and heal your injuries and charge. I still haven't recovered from my battle with the dragon Yi Jing. I can't hold on for long. Lin Chen, who was at the very back of the group, shouted. Combined with his desperate attempt to stop them, it was quite convincing. Immediately, another 4 geniuses took his long kingwo. Right now, everyone's priority was to break out of the encirclement. Boom! An ink-colored qilin rose from the ground. Its entire body was filled with vigor and power. It was embellished with black light, and its killing intent was overwhelming. It was one of the 2 holy beasts with 8 billion dragon power points. Blast it! Don't hold back. It's not an ordinary opponent. The geniuses looked at each other, and the power of the odd crystals in their bodies burned up. Waves of destructive power surged out from their saint apertures like a mountain and sea prison, capable of moving heaven and earth. Great flaming sky palm, golden meteor, big dipper sword, 7 killing finger, heavenly reed, 3 strikes. Holy light shone brightly. Some ripples turned into sword light. Some had the word kill engraved on them, and some had golden light that pierced through the sky. One after another, the rare orange tier ultimate techniques were all executed at this moment. These geniuses had brought out their trump cards. Everyone on the Red Moon platform was dumbfounded. Their hearts trembled. The 12 top geniuses on the genius list had orange grade combat techniques. Each orange grade technique represented the ultimate technique of an aristocratic family or sect. The female immemorial black qilin roared. Its beast body rose high and pressed down with its palms. Its aura surged like a dragon as it unleashed its 8 billion dragon power points perfectly. Boom! The black qilin took the attacks of the 12 Saint State geniuses head-on and shook half the space. At this moment, no one noticed Lin Chen. All his clones hidden in the dark appeared in front of the 4 Saint Beasts at the same time and stared straight into their eyes. The pupils of Lin Chen and all of his doppelgangers slowly turned into a dark green color. At this moment, Lin Chen's and his doppelganger's eyes were actually jade green. Consumed 1, 2, 3, 6, 0 intermediate heaven path points. Activated awakening divine ability. Amorous rippling eyes on 4 targets. Swoosh! A jade green light shot out from Lin Chen and his clone's eyes and hit the Saint Beast's eyes. The second Saint Beast, with 8 billion dragon power points that was still in the form of a seductive young woman, immediately reacted and shouted, "Human brat, what did you shoot at me?" Lin Chun smirked. "Why are you in such a hurry? Didn't you want the young man to shoot something at you? Didn't you say you wanted to collapse the cave? What I shot is a treasure. Even if a fairy descends, I guarantee that it will be enough for you." In just 2 seconds after the jade green light shot out, the seductive young woman's face turned red, and her eyes turned jade green. As for the other 3 Saint Beasts, 2 of their eyes turned jade green, and 1 of them turned crimson. Extremely violent restlessness surged in their bodies. Some of their primitive desires multiplied, and some of their bloodthirsty hearts were stimulated even more violently. Amorous rippling eyes targets. 3 targets succeeded. 1 target failed. Those who succeeded will enter the amorous rippling state, and their desires will go berserk. Those who failed will enter the berserk state, and their killing intent will rise and become difficult to suppress. Roar. After a few earth-shattering roars, all the Saint Beasts revealed their true forms. And at this time, in front of the team, because of the sure kill skill, although the Saint Beast had destroyed the attacks of all the geniuses, it had given them an opportunity to escape. Before the geniuses escaped, they saw Lin Chun, who was still in the Saint Beast's attack range, and they couldn't help but sigh. Prince Lin Chun is really a gentleman. What a kind person. He sent us Long Qingwo and helped us escape. If he is free, I will definitely give him a top 10 Outstanding Young Man award. What is he doing? When the geniuses escaped, they saw Lin Chun rushing toward the black qilin that had attacked all the geniuses. Then, with a flash of green light, the black qilin's eyes turned jade green. Lin Chun snapped his fingers, and all the clones disappeared. He smiled coquettishly. Damn it. With a whoosh, the Dark Tribulation's Saint Aura covered his body. Lin Chun activated the Khanate Shadow Art, and even used the Heavenly Invisibility Rune on himself, completely eliminating his aura. Roar. Men, I want men. The black qilin roared like it was in heat, and its speed increased sharply as it rushed toward the geniuses. Kill eat. I want to eat the flesh of their Saint Beasts. I want to squeeze them dry. All the Saint Beasts rushed over as if they had gone mad. The geniuses were stunned and hurriedly scattered to escape. Some of the geniuses who were being chased by the Saint Beasts felt their scalps go numb. What the F***CK is going on? They have gone mad. These Saint Beasts have gone mad. But why are they chasing us? Could it be Lin Chen's doing? F***CK. That kid is a cunning old fox. We have been tricked. The geniuses who were admiring Lin Chun earlier all had their mouths twitching as they gritted their teeth. Good guy? Good my ass. Chapter 1162. Everyone on the Red Moon platform was stunned. What's going on? Why did the sacred beasts go crazy? They didn't even hesitate to reveal their true forms to chase after the geniuses. Haniji shook her head helplessly. She could roughly guess that it was the class monitor's doing. In less than 15 minutes, 3 geniuses were sent away with injuries. According to the rules, if they were too injured and gave up, they could immediately give up and teleport away. If they didn't return, their lives would be in danger. The geniuses who were teleported back to the Red Moon platform gnashed their teeth in anger. They were completely fooled by Lin Chun. However, they couldn't figure out what method he used to make the sacred beasts go crazy and only chase after them while ignoring Lin Chun. The sacred beasts were quite intelligent, and their abilities were even more powerful. To make them go crazy or go into estrus? That didn't seem right. Even if it was an aphrodisiac, it would still take some time to refine. Could it be that there's something wrong with the Long Qingwo he gave us? There's no problem. The quality of his Long Qingwo is extremely good, and it's still healing my injuries. There's nothing wrong with it. While the 3 geniuses were distressed, the female geniuses on the platform were staring at them with lust and love. Seeing the affectionate gazes of the female geniuses, Lien Wushuang felt as if he had been struck by lightning. As a saint-level alchemist, he was very clear about the effects of the Long Qingguo. The Long Qingguo contained the pure aura of a dragon, and its energy was gentle and nourishing. If a man took it for a long time, he would have a chance to obtain the divine weapon Sky-Raising Dragon King Spear. If a man took it for a long time, he would have a strong masculine aura and attract the opposite sex. Dragons were lustful, and this effect was more or less attached to the Long Qingguo. Lin Shun had used some unknown method to stimulate all the hungry sacred beasts, causing them to go into estrus, or go into a frenzy. Then, he would hide his aura to the extreme and let the geniuses consume the Long Qing fruit. The geniuses who exuded a masculine aura and had saint realm talent would become the primary targets of the saint beasts who were in heat. In this way, Lin Shun didn't even need to do anything, and the sacred beasts would chase after the geniuses. What a good move to divert the calamity, turning a dragon into a phoenix. Lin Shun, oh Lin Shun, you're AF * King Devil. Lien Wushuang accepted his loss wholeheartedly. Instead, he recalled what Lin Shun had said in the canon of alchemy, that he could still reach a higher level. Compared to a real monster, the so-called monster-level geniuses were nothing. Lin Shun turned into a dark shadow, concealing his strength and fame, and flew towards the center of the continent. His mental power was fully unleashed as he searched for the location of the Saint Beast's nest. The youngsters nowadays are still too inexperienced. But if they don't cooperate with me, they won't be able to kill their way out. Lin Shun broke into a palace and released all of his spiritual power. Found it. Is it here? Lin Shun raised his head and saw a blood moon-like jade hanging from the ceiling of the palace. Suddenly, a stream of light flashed by. Lin Shun's body moved with his will, and he suddenly used his movement technique. Whoosh! Lin Shun took the lead and snatched the crimson lunar jade. As expected of a Lin Shun who toyed with geniuses. Interesting. A naturally despicable voice reverberated, and a figure appeared in the darkness. His face was fair, and he was handsome with delicate features. He was originally a handsome guy, but the despicable smile on his lips made people want to beat him up. Oh, one of the legendary 4 great perverts, Xiaoxian? Lin Shun was surprised. He put away the crimson lunar jade and smiled. Am I being underestimated? If you had used your full strength just now, I might not have been able to take the crimson lunar jade. Xiaoxian curled his lips indifferently. What's the big deal about the crimson lunar jade? I've got it long ago. I'm just testing your skills. After that, Xiaoxian turned a blood-colored jade on his fingertips. Lin Shun's heart skipped a beat. He really lived up to his reputation. This Xiaoxian had orange-tier body movement techniques and had a strong foundation. In the chaotic battle, just now, he did not use at least half of his strength and was slacking off. Lin Shun's insane speed was all because of Enhance and Ultimate Moment, in addition to his high elemental attribute points. He also had to add a pair of Holy Phoenix wings to reach the speed of an orange-tier body movement technique. It was obvious that there was a huge gap between half orange tier and orange tier. Even the monsters on the monster ranking might not have orange tier body movement techniques. This was known as the rarest type of cultivation technique. You look quite strong. Do you want to go deeper into this place with me? If there's anything, we'll split it 50-50. Xiaoxian made a suggestion. Lin Shun said, Oh, what kind of cooperation? Xiaoxian pointed. On the other side of this dimension is the Void Lightning Pool. There might be good treasures in the Void Lightning Pool, but some strange monsters are born in the Void Lightning Pool. It's risky for me to go alone. Lin Shun raised his eyebrows. What if you sell me? Xiaoxian said angrily. Bullsh *T. I'm worried that you'll sell me. Lin Shun shrugged and said indifferently, I never lose anything when I do things. You can choose not to cooperate. If you want to cooperate, you'll have to pay a deposit. Xiaoxian was stunned. I need to pay F * King deposit. Lin Shun smiled mockingly. I never do business where I lose anything. Besides, do you think there's a better partner than me right now? Look at those guys outside who are running around like dogs. Shi Shaoxian's mouth twitched. You're ruthless. Shi Shaoxian gave Lin Chen a sage-tier weapon worth more than 100 million Saint Origin coins as a deposit. The two of them set off. Lin Chen summoned the Holy Dragon this time. Although it was injured in the battle with the Dragon Ritual Crystal, Lin Chen, who had the Long Qingguo and Dragon Blood Saliva, helped the Holy Dragon reach a higher level. Now, it was only one Dragon Vein away from reaching 1 billion Dragon Power Points. Lin Chen and Shi Shaoxian went all the way to the edge of the southwest region. At the center of the region was a rift abyss. The two of them entered the rift abyss, and in less than 10 breaths, Lin Chen felt a wave of lightning that wanted to tear his chest apart. With my current saint physique, it's indestructible. It won't be a problem for me to take a full blow from a saint realm expert. How can I feel such a strong pressure from lightning from such a distance? There must be a treasure inside. Lin Chen raised his spirits and circulated his lightning-attributed Saint Origin Qi to relieve the pressure. The Holy Dragon's body was enshrouded in a layer of azure light, and it resisted the lightning. Shi Shaoxian, who was always smiling, had a solemn expression on his face. 13 Saint Origin Qi glowed brightly as they protected his body. Lin Chen had 10 Saint Origin Qi points, and with the help of the Great Unity Space, his cultivation was comparable to a late-second Heaven True Saint Realm expert with 16 Saint Origin Qi points. His combat strength was comparable to an early third Heaven True Saint Realm expert. As long as there wasn't a fourth Heaven True Saint Realm expert inside, he could escape unharmed. Shua! The two of them dove to the bottom of the rift abyss and finally arrived at a spatial crack. Lightning crackled within, and the crystal walls were easily torn apart by the lightning. Entering the spatial crack, a dusky world entered their eyes. Everything was gray, and the vitality was dim. Lightning bolts slithered around like snakes. Lin Chen's eyes lit up in an instant. This was a void lightning pool, and there were bubbles of lightning with numbers floating around it. Above them, there were numbers like 231, 642, and so on. These were the special attribute points needed to create a sure kill skill. These are the special attribute points needed to create a top-grade blue rank sure kill skill. Lin Chen's heart trembled. Chapter 1163. The Holy Dragon wandered in the void and collected a large number of attribute bubbles from the void lightning pool for Lin Chen. There were at least tens of thousands of special attribute bubbles here. Hey, what's that dragon of yours doing? Don't act so brazenly. Shi Shaoxian was scared out of his wits. He was used to sneaking around, so how could he stand Lin Chen's high-profile actions? Lin Chen patted him on the shoulder. Don't worry. What are you afraid of? I'm here. Boom! The thunderclouds surged, and tens of thousands of lightning flashed and condensed into a pitch-black lightning dragon. It stared at the two of them and the Holy Dragon as if it had a mind of its own. Its murderous aura was monstrous, and Shi Shaoxian's hair stood on end. Lin Chen said seriously, Shaoxian, I'll leave it to you. The heavens have bestowed a great responsibility on a man, and it will temper his muscles and bones. I believe in you. I'll take out the treasures inside and share them with you equally later. Shi Shaoxian, are you still human? Suddenly, the lightning condensed, and the lightning dragon finally turned into a graceful and beautiful figure. She was completely naked, and her facial features were delicate like a budding beauty. Her curvaceous figure made the two of them stare blankly for a moment. The woman covered in lightning threw a coquettish look at the two of them. Her lips curled up slightly, and her whole body released an aura of seeking pleasure. Lin Chen suddenly said, Forget it. Brother, you go first. This place is too dangerous. I'll bring up the rear. Shi Shaoxian said seriously, Brother Chen, although you and I have met by chance, I can tell a glance. You're a person worth treating with all my heart. This time, the enemy has a great ominous cover and is extremely dangerous. I won't shirk my responsibility. Lin Chen said sincerely, Brother, you've really moved me, but how can I be a coward? If we fight together. If we run together. If we fight together. Let's hack this fierce woman together. Shi Shaoxian nodded heavily. Okay, in that case, we'll hack her 3 times. Lin Chun said seriously, 3 times it is. After that, the two of them wiped the blood from their noses at the same time. Boom, boom. The void lightning pool's energy was mobilized. The lightning woman pointed with her slender finger, and endless lightning condensed into dozens of lightning bolts that shot towards Lin Chun and the Holy Dragon. The destructive power of the lightning was extremely terrifying. Wherever it passed, the spatial crystal walls were torn apart like paper. Bang, bang, bang. The space where the two of them were was shattered into half, and their afterimages disappeared. Whoosh! As expected, the speed of the two of them was extremely fast. The two of them did not face the spiritual body formed by the lightning. Instead, they charged straight into the center of the lightning pool. The lightning woman with long hair that reached her waist stepped on a bolt of lightning and dashed towards the 2 old foxes. The 2 old foxes flashed again and dashed in different directions. This woman was the intelligent form of the void lightning pool. She could control the energy of the entire void lightning pool. Even Lin Chun might not be able to consume more energy than her. Only those in the 4th heaven true saint realm who had reached the cavern augmenting realm and whose saint caverns could contain as much saint chi as the sun and moon would be able to go head to head with her. Chi, chi, boom, boom, boom. The entire void lightning pool was shaking. The two of them were extremely fast, but they still managed to dodge the lightning spirit's attack by a hair's breadth. In the next moment, the lightning spirit turned around and charged towards Shi Shaoxian. F*CK, your grandmother. Why'd you take a fancy to me? That guy is more handsome than me. Go, and F*CK him up. Shi Shaoxian's scalp turned numb as he dashed away like a bolt of lightning. As he entered the void lightning pool, he immediately activated a cloak-like first-grade spatial saint artifact to escape. Lin Chun heaved a sigh of relief. Perhaps the lightning spirit had sensed that his cultivation was higher than his, so it had eliminated him first. Luckily, this lightning spirit only has basic intelligence and does not know how to control its own strength. If it had the battle consciousness of a 4th heaven true saint realm expert, the two of us would not have been able to escape. Lin Chun released the Holy Dragon once again and frantically collected the special attribute points. Doppelganger, go and save that idiot. Lin Chun released 2 doppelgangers and operated the Dark Calamity Holy Chi. He activated the innate Dark Shadow Art to eliminate the aura and sneak into the void lightning pool. If Shi Shaoxian died, it would not be considered a cooperation, and Lin Chun would not sell him out completely. Lin Chun turned into a white dragon shadow and rushed into the deepest part of the lightning pool. In the center was a purple lightning pool. The purple lightning pool was 10 cubic meters in size, and the water surface of the lightning pool was pulsing with arcs of electricity, causing the space to distort. The pervasive lightning power made Lin Chun feel a lingering fear. And right above the purple lightning pool, there was a 5-light treasure chest floating. Lin Chun was slightly delighted and grabbed it. Open the 5-light supreme treasure chest. Host has obtained low-grade lightning odd crystal, 1000 lightning odd crystal. Lightning odd crystal. Lin Chun was overjoyed. He was lacking lightning, wood, and wind odd crystals. At this moment, the purple lightning pool was filled with special attribute value bubbles as the Holy Dragon released its dragon body to the maximum. Obtained 1592 points of high-grade lightning energy, 899 points of lightning energy, 722 points of lightning energy. There was a lot of lightning energy here, and the Holy Dragon took it all in one fell swoop. Lin Chun stared at the purple lightning pool. This is the energy accumulated by the Holy Thunder. It has completely turned into a substance and contains a rich amount of lightning attribute, holy essence. In the depths of the lightning pool, there was a purple vine. This was the Thunder Saint vine. It was a raw material that was about to transform into a low-grade, odd crystal. On the other side, there was a thunder sword. The body of the sword was like a fish intestine, 3 feet long and 3 fingers wide. The body of the sword was purple with a hint of green. It was a lightning attribute, first-grade holy sword. But this holy sword had been refined by the lightning pool for many years, and its power was stronger than ordinary first-grade holy swords. Suddenly, in addition to the 2 treasures, Lin Shan also saw a faint 5-color attribute light in the depths of the lightning pool. There is another 5-light supreme treasure chest in the lightning pool. Lin Shan was moved. 2 5-light supreme treasure chests. He was going to make a killing this time. Lin Shan first used the innate shadow art to hide his aura to the lowest level. With a thought, he activated the superdimensional teleportation. Swish! The space flashed, and the clone brought Shi Shaoxian to Lin Shan's position. He was a little confused. What kind of spatial secret technique is this? When he saw Lin Shan, he couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. At least you still have some conscience. Look down. Lin Shan's voice echoed in his ears. Shi Shaoxian took a closer look and was moved. Thunder Saint Vine and Lightning Attribute Holy Sword. Lin Shan directly transmitted his voice. The energy in the lightning pool is too strong. I need enough time to go in and get the treasure. My clone will help you delay that guy. After it's done, the Thunder Sword is yours and the Thunder Saint Vine is mine. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying lightning swept over again. It was the lightning pool's spiritual body that had come again. Lin Shan didn't wait for Shi Shaoxian to agree and kicked him away. In the distance, the Thunder Spirit's attention was on him, and Lin Shan was hiding in the dark. Shi Shaoxian wailed, "Lin Shan, you King." Lin Shan smiled and transmitted his voice. Happy cooperation. Shi Shaoxian wanted to cry. Happy my ass. Although that was the case, Shi Shaoxian still obediently cooperated with Lin Shan and continued to attract the Thunder Spirit to other places. Even if it was him, Shi Shaoxian couldn't go down to the lightning pool to get the treasure. He could only leave it to Lin Shan. From the way he used his clone to cover himself, it could be seen that this guy didn't intend to fall out with him. Chapter 1164. At this time, among the dozens of screens on the Red Moon platform, 4 of them were showing the scene of the Void Lightning Pool. It perfectly reflected the situation of Lin Shan and Shi Shaoxian. Sitting in the giant ship, Fairy Scarlet revealed an interested look for the first time. Lin Shan's trick of playing with the geniuses was indeed brilliant, and Shi Shaoxian was not to be underestimated either. Both of them had found the Scarlet Moon Jade in the shortest time possible. I didn't expect them to find a Void Lightning Pool. The lightning spirit inside is condensing wisdom, and its true strength is close to the 4th heaven true saint realm. If these 2 fellows can gain something from it, they are really suitable to complete the task for me. Fairy Scarlet's eyes flashed, and the people on the Red Moon platform clicked their tongues in wonder. Lin Shan and Shi Shaoxian, these 2 insidious fellows, have teamed up. These 2 are not simple. Their movement techniques are at the orange tier. Even saints with 10 saint points higher than them would find it difficult to catch up with them. That's right. That's why orange tier movement technique is the rarest technique. With this technique, it's a life-saving technique. While the geniuses were discussing, the saints' eyes narrowed as they stared at a certain screen. It can't be. Lin Shan wants to enter the center of the Void Lightning Pool. Lightning condenses into a purple color. This is the energy condensed by the Saint Lightning. This is not a joke. Without the cultivation of the 3rd heaven true, Saint Realm, and above, one will be seriously injured or even die if they dare to touch it inside the Void Lightning Pool. While Shi Shaoxian was attracting the lightning spirit's fire, Lin Shan used all the Saint Chi in his saint points to cover himself. While maintaining the state of the innate shadow art, he dived into the Void Lightning Pool. The saints outside the Red Moon platform felt their hearts skip a beat. Was this kid really not afraid of death? What did he have other plans? Rumble. Buzz. 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 Terrifying lightning struck Lin Chen's consciousness and saint body like a tidal wave, causing his body to convulse and his teeth to chatter. The entire void lightning pool began to boil like boiling water. Lightning flashed, and electric arcs curled around it. Crackle. Bang. 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 The pool of lightning boiled. Lin Chen's entire body exploded. His hair stood on end from the electricity, and his eyes rolled back into his head. His 5 limbs were paralyzed. Oh no, the energy gathered in this lightning pool is too sick. If this continues, I'm going to be in trouble. Lin Chen's spiritual power was as vast as the starry sky. Even if he was electrocuted to the point of dizziness, as long as there was a wisp of spiritual power left, he could instantly think and realize the seriousness of the problem. Even Shi Shaoxian, a second heaven true saint, had no confidence in entering the lightning pool of the void. Lin Chen had underestimated its power. This Lin Chen is going to be in trouble. He has been electrocuted by the lightning pool's energy. His life force will be completely destroyed in a short period of time. He's too reckless. Let's see what Fairy Scarlet has to say. If she makes a move, Lin Chen will be disqualified. The sages shook their heads and jumped into the lightning pool. Even sages with their cultivation levels did not dare to say that they could come out alive. A hint of astonishment appeared on Fairy Crimson's beautiful face. You jumped down without any preparation? Should she say that this Lin Chen was smart or stupid? Inside the lightning pool, the holy lightning rushed into Lin Chen's body. His head kept shaking, and even his holy chi could not completely resist the power of the lightning. That's right. My clones should refine the 1,000 lightning odd crystal. If I can control the lightning attribute odd crystal, my sacred body will not be so easily electrocuted by the lightning. In Qing Shui's plant pouch, Lin Chen activated the remaining 3 clones and used the Tai Sky technique to put the new lightning attribute odd crystal into his sacred point. Boom! Lin Chen's sacred point had an additional wisp of holy lightning. Lin Chen's 9 calamities of creation and Tai Sky technique seemed to be innate mental cultivation methods for controlling odd crystals. There was no rejection or burden when he controlled the new odd crystal. In just a quarter of an hour, it automatically integrated into his body, obtained 77,800 points of advanced lightning energy. As the lightning attribute value soared, Lin Chen injected his holy chi into the 1,000 lightning odd crystal. Whoosh! Boom! When the power of the lightning attribute odd crystal was activated, more than half of the lightning wrapped around Lin Chen disappeared. The pressure on him instantly decreased, and he even felt a trace of numbness. As expected, the power of the lightning attribute odd crystal can assimilate most of the power of the holy lightning. Lin Chen was slightly delighted. His clones refined a large amount of silver sacred origin coins in Qing Shui's plant pouch to provide holy chi for his main body. Then, he continued to transfer it into the lightning attribute odd crystal and continued to activate the power of the odd crystal to protect his body. He began to swim in the lightning pool. The water in the lightning pool was completely accumulated by the holy lightning over thousands of years. Not to mention tearing space, he couldn't even fly here. Swimming was already Lin Chen's limit. Swimming to the bottom of the lightning pool, Lin Chen pulled out the thunder sword from the bottom of the lightning pool and put it into Qing Shui's plant pouch. Then he put the thunder vine into the Taoyuan plant pouch. This item was a good treasure for making low-grade lightning attribute odd crystals. He could try to cultivate another lightning attribute odd crystal. After keeping the treasures in the lightning pool, Lin Chen grabbed the second 5-light treasure chest, opened 5-light supreme treasure chest, obtained orange talent fragment, extinction split wound 3/3. The talent has been automatically fused. Please check the talent column. A new orange talent. Lin Chen was ecstatic. It's here. Another orange talent. After instant light split shadow, This was the second permanent orange talent that Lin Chen controlled. Active offensive talent, Extinction Split Wound. Consume talent points to increase the next attack with a split wound effect. When injuring the injury cannot be healed for a period of time. The duration of the split wound effect is 180 days / 90 days / 30 days / 7 days. The duration of the split wound effect depends on the enemy's cultivation. Grade: low orange. I have a new trump card. As long as I break the enemy's defense and injure them, the injury will continue to exist. During the battle, I can take advantage of the enemy's injuries to continue to accumulate injuries. This is too perverted. It's a killing move for a prolonged battle. Although Extinction Split Wound was not as good as Heaven Defying, it was still a permanent orange talent. Lin Shan believed that as long as he combined it with Instant Light Split Shadow or War God Bracers, he would definitely be able to combine a new killing move. All right, it's about time to go out. Lin Shan was about to swim upstream when there was a ka sound coming from his body. A brand new power emerged from Lin Chen's body. It was like 10,000 dragons roaring to the sky and shaking the stars. Lin Chen's bones, flesh, and blood suddenly had a stronger vitality. He actually broke through. However, it was not his cultivation, but his body refining realm. The flesh shell awakening increased Lin Chen's pure strength by 50%. Lin Chen's 200 million dragon power increased to 300 million dragon power. Now, he had broken through to 400 million dragon power. With the awakening effect, he had 600 million dragon power. It's because of the lightning pool. I was focused on fusing with the odd crystal just now and didn't pay attention to the flesh shell sacred body. It hovered between life and death several times before finally being tempered by the lightning pool and reached a new realm. Lin Chen licked his lips excitedly. The lightning pool can temper the body? I've struck gold. Could this be the legendary electric therapy? Ha ha ha. Chapter 1165. What's going on with Lin Chen? Is he crazy? This guy even snuck in? Is this guy tired of living? I'm thinking that he's younger than my sister. Is there something wrong with his brain? The geniuses and sages of the Red Moon platform were stunned and surprised. This guy was electrocuted until his eyes rolled back, and he almost died. Even Fairy Crimson had almost teleported him out of this place. It wasn't easy for him to move, but he still snuck in. Fairy Scarlet raised her slender finger and stared at the lightning pool in the void with interest. Interesting, a new odd crystal emerged when the flesh shell saint body reached its limit, and it's a lightning odd crystal. This kid is very useful. After saying the last sentence, Fairy Scarlet stared at Han Iji. I heard that Han Iji and he are old acquaintances. If he can pass this assessment, he might be able to sneak into that woman's side. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the Red Moon platform. What's going on? F***CK. My eyes are about to go blind. What is this Lin Chen doing? Crazy? Is this Lin Chen really crazy? The sages even stood up abruptly, looking as if they had seen a ghost. Lien Wushuang opened his mouth wide and was instantly dumbfounded. The rows of female geniuses covered their faces with their hands, blushing as they peeked at a light screen at the edge. The faces of Fairy Scarlet's remaining 4 beloved disciples were dyed red, and some of them spat. Even the coldest and most arrogant female genius couldn't help but reveal a trace of astonishment. Han Iji, who was on the opposite side of the platform, coughed a few times, her ears slightly red. At this time, on the light screen at the edge, the young man took off his clothes, leaving only his underwear on. His chest was exposed, and his refined muscles showed a linear curve. His hair stood up, and electric arcs jumped. He was soaking in a lightning pool, lying on the edge of the pool with his hands, looking comfortable and lazy. Electric arcs were running all over his body, causing him to tremble slightly. The corners of Lin Chen's mouth curled up into a coquettish arc, and he sighed. Comfortable. Hey, this lightning pool electrotherapy massage is very comfortable, and it even has the effect of lightning tempering the body. It's hard to find such a good place, even with a lantern. Everyone on the Red Moon platform was dumbfounded. Even Fairy Crimson was stunned. This Lin Shun was actually bathing in the void lightning pool. Many people felt their scalps go numb and a chill run down their spines. He was actually soaking in a pool of lightning energy that was strong enough to destroy a second layer or even third layer saints. Are you kidding me? Boss, you're here to participate in the examination, not to take a vacation. He was even enjoying himself in the lightning pool. A sparkling and translucent bead of sweat streaked across his handsome face, and then it slid down to his well-defined collarbone. Some of the young female geniuses looked like delicate peaches, and their cheeks were dyed red. They spat lightly from time to time, wanting to look at him with disdain. Lin Shin's lazy and comfortable soaking appearance was a stark contrast to the other geniuses who were being chased by sacred beasts that were in heat or had gone berserk. This stark contrast in their encounters seemed to be telling everyone that even if he, Lin Shun, could not attack others, he still had all sorts of ways to kill others. A monster-level genius who had once entered the tomb of the sacred king muttered to himself, "Is there no one in this world who can stop this man from continuing to flirt?" Previously, he danced on the tomb of the sacred king, and now he's soaking in the void lightning pool. However, the next moment, Lin Shun took out an exquisite golden wine pot, poured a cup of fine wine brewed with clear jade dew, and placed a fruit bowl on top. On top of the bowl were colorful, sparkling, and translucent long kingwo, red gold vine, and dragon blood saliva. Lin Shun took out a flying knife from his waist and used it as a fork to cut the vine. He elegantly cut open the red gold vine, dipped it in some dragon blood saliva, and put it in his mouth to chew and swallow slowly. Then, he casually picked up a string of long kingwo. While his body was trembling from the electricity, he raised his head and opened his mouth, swallowing all the long kingwo into his stomach. He casually crossed his legs in the lightning pool, exposing his legs from above. He didn't forget to calmly raise his cup and take a sip of the fine wine brewed with clear jade dew. Looking at Lin Shun, who was crossing his legs, holding a cup in one hand and eating the fruit in the other, many experts couldn't help but blurt out, "Damn it, why was he so flirtatious?" Looking at his smug look, did he lack a beautiful woman to accompany him in the pool? "I'm so angry, he's so annoying. Why is he wearing Pinru underpants? I suddenly feel like hitting him. How did this person survive until now without being beaten to death?" A cyan-robed young master gritted his teeth in anger. The two monster-level geniuses who had entered the clear sky, Saint King's tomb, looked at each other and patted the cyan-robed young master's shoulder at the same time. They said helplessly, "Get used to it. We were all flirted with by him like this." After the long kingwo and dragon blood saliva entered his mouth, it helped Lin Shin's strength increase even more. The solid lightning saint origin condensed by the holy lightning tempered his flesh and blood. The dragon blood saliva contained a large amount of dragon blood essence like dragon blood and flesh, containing the energy to move mountains and fill seas. It entered Lin Shin's flesh and blood. Originally, the dragon blood saliva was a sacred body refining item that Lin Shun had prepared for the holy dragon. After all, with his physique, it would take a long time to refine the dragon blood saliva. This was because the energy of this item was domineering, unlike the gentle energy of a long kingwo. However, this time, the dragon blood saliva and red gold vine were accidentally tempered and attacked by the power of the holy lightning, speeding up the fusion of the two treasures into Lin Shen's body. The long kingwo healed and nourished his body. The dragon blood saliva increased his strength. The red gold vine increased his defense, and the holy lightning tempered his body and increased his body refining power. At this moment, Lin Shen's pure strength increased explosively. This was the most terrifying breakthrough in his flesh and blood ever since he started refining his body. Host has received 2,813 lightning energy points, 2,880 high grade health points, 5,620 high-grade health points, 2,920 high-grade health points, 1,259 lightning energy points. The system continued to play like crazy. While Lin Shun received the holy lightning's energy to temper his flesh and blood, he also received a small amount of lightning saint origin to fuse into his saint acupoints, obtaining even more lightning energy. His pure strength increased from 600 million dragon blood essence to 700 million, 800 million, and an endless stream of pure strength exploded like a geyser, unstoppable. Rumble. Before Lin Shun had even soaked in it for a quarter of an hour, the entire lightning pool erupted with an earth-shattering aura. Lin Shin's vitality increased by several levels, reaching a whole new height. Lin Shun actually broke through the barrier of 1 billion dragon blood essence at a speed visible to the naked eye. Some of the sages and geniuses who had been eliminated finally noticed the abnormality, and their jaws dropped in shock. What a domineering aura! Did that fellow break through to the next realm? This isn't a breakthrough in cultivation, but a refinement in his flesh and blood. So this fellow has been using the lightning pool's energy to temper his body. This is 1 or 2 levels stronger than some of the body refinement maniacs this old man has seen before. Could it be that he has broken through to 1 billion dragon blood essence? 1 billion dragon blood essence? My God, isn't that comparable to a first heaven true saint in terms of pure strength and killing power? Using the lightning pool to temper his flesh and blood essence. He's really handsome on the outside, but bold on the inside. Lin Shun replied, I've already lost contact with him in the lightning pool. Chapter 1166. Fairy Scarlet's 2 beautiful disciples covered their red lips with their hands, their beautiful eyes sparkling. He's actually using the void lightning pool to refine his body. Oh my God, this is too overbearing. What kind of mental cultivation method is he cultivating? It can actually resist the energy of the void lightning pool and refine his body at the same time. Both of them were alchemy grandmasters, especially when it came to refining pills to refine the body. Lin Shin's cultivation method was no different from suicide to them. Fairy Scarlet's opinion of Lin Shun went up a notch. This kid's actions seemed absurd, but there was actually a hidden mystery. He was really as magical as the legend said. No one could guess what he was going to do. In the void lightning pool, Lin Shin's bones, flesh, and blood were overflowing with a faint reddish gold color. Using this void lightning pool to refine his body, Lin Shin had absorbed a lot of red gold vines. The pure defensive power of his flesh shell would be stronger than that of experts of the same level. Lin Shin initially needed to use the power of the odd crystal to resist the energy of the void lightning pool, but slowly, he only needed to use the Thunder Tribulation Holy Chi to resist it. In the end, he only needed to resist it, and the efficiency of refining his body increased. Lin Shun, how much longer do you need? I can't hold on any longer. One of your clones is dead. At this moment, Shi Shaoxian screamed. He was crushed by the void lightning pool's thunder spirit. If not for his movement technique and years of experience in escaping, he would have died long ago. Wait a little longer. I'm coming out soon. Lin Shun lazily transmitted his voice, and everyone on the Red Moon platform didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This Shi Shaoxian was completely tricked by Lin Shun. After another quarter of an hour, Shi Shaoxian screamed again. Oh my God, my second brother. Wow, it's all burnt. Lin Shin, what the hell is wrong with you? If you can't handle it, I'll leave. Your clones are all dead. Lin Shin chuckled. Soon. Just wait for another minute. Maybe I'll be out in the next minute. Lin Shin was almost done. The void lightning pool's energy was no longer as stimulating to him. He even felt a little numb. There was no harm at all. Lin Shin nodded, and it's about time. My flesh shell has developed a large amount of resistance to lightning. Adding to the fact that my body refinement realm has increased, the lightning pool here has very little effect on my flesh shell. F***CK, what the hell are you doing? Shi Shaoxian rushed over angrily. When he saw Lin Shun soaking in the bath, he was completely stunned. The next moment, he roared angrily, F asterisk CK. You F asterisk king tricked me. I'm dying, and you're massaging me here? Lin Shun shamelessly laughed and said, Sorry, it was too comfortable. I couldn't help myself. After that, Lin Shun threw the fish intestine thunder sword to Shi Shaoxian. Shi Shaoxian caught the sword and exclaimed subconsciously, Good sword. With the condensation of the lightning pool energy, its power is comparable to a second-grade lightning attribute holy sword. At least your character isn't too bad. In theory, the value of this holy grade lightning sword was higher than the Thunder Sage Vine. The latter could only be used as a raw material for the lightning attribute odd crystal and was not a real lightning attribute odd crystal. If it was forcefully taken away, it could only be regarded as a rare treasure at most and not the value of a low-grade odd crystal. It was just that Lin Shun had the method to cultivate it into an odd crystal. So in Shi Shaoxian's heart, he still profited. But compared to Lin Shen's actual gains this time, a lightning attribute holy sword was simply not worth a mention. A new orange grade talent fragment, low-grade lightning attribute odd crystal, and lightning pool body refinement. All of them were far more valuable than the lightning attribute holy sword. This time, Lin Shen's gains were too great. To put it bluntly, it was much greater than breaking through the 11th sacred point and advancing to the second Heaven Sage realm. His pure strength soared to 1 billion dragon power points, and due to the awakened power of the flesh shell, his pure strength was 1 billion dragon power points. Just the lethality of his pure strength was comparable to the mid-second Heaven Sage realm. Previously, when Lin Shun exploded his acupoints and became a saint, the opponents he faced were more terrifying than the previous one, which caused his pure strength to not have any outstanding effect. At this moment, if Lin Shun were to use this terrifying pure strength to support his battle techniques, the explosive strength would increase the lethality of his attacks by several folds, especially combat skills that relied on pure strength. Their power would increase exponentially. Boom, boom, boom. The space shook and thunder roared. Shi Shaoxian immediately put away the lightning sword and waved at Lin Shun. I'll leave first. Our cooperation ends here. You settle it yourself. The power of that lightning spirit is simply inexhaustible. I won't accompany you. After speaking, Shi Shaoxian transformed into dozens of afterimages and disappeared in an instant. Unexpectedly, not only did Lin Shun not leave, but his battle intent soared to the sky. Clang! Lin Shun unsheathed his blade, and the azure moon in his hand shone with a mysterious blue light. That was the light unique to the plus 12 upgrade. This can't be right. Lin Shun isn't planning to run. Could it be that he wants to fight that terrifying lightning spirit? That's impossible. Even if his body refinement reached the second Heaven Sage realm, it's impossible for him to fight against a 10th of the lightning spirit. Could it be that he's going to take out his trump card to kill a 4th Heaven Sage realm expert? The geniuses and saints on the Red Moon platform stared at the screen without blinking. The lightning spirit lady pointed her finger, and 10,000 streaks of lightning appeared behind her. Thunder rumbled, and the lightning clouds seemed to listen to her command as they gathered behind her. In an instant, blinding streaks of lightning shot out from the clouds. Chi! Chi! 8 streaks of purple lightning streaked across the sky like lightning dragons. Every single one of them was several hundred zhong thick, and in an instant, they pierced through the void and the blue dome of heaven. Lin Shen's remaining 30 million points started to dwindle when he entered the lightning pool. Boom! Endless water calamity light soared into the sky. The 10 saint points and 10 great 1 saint points all injected their saint power into the water-type odd crystal. At this moment, the blade light skyrocketed. Lin Shen's pure strength exploded, and with a wave of his arm, he slashed out with his blade. Mirror Moon Imperial God. Whoosh! A dazzling and beautiful mirror moon blade light was like the flowing light of the moon, mixed with pure strength that pierced through the space crystal wall. Buzz! The moonlight blade that was as bright as a mirror and as bright as the moon trembled and split into five outside the Red Moon platform. Except for Fairy Scarlet and Han Iji, who could see this blade, everyone felt that the world was illuminated by the moonlight for an instant. Rip! Boom! The moonlight that streaked across the surface of the water cut through all the lightning dragons, and a 30% penetration power blew up the lightning fragments. What? Shi Xiaoxian, who had just escaped, was dumbfounded. This guy is still hiding his strength. He actually dares to fight the lightning spirit head-on. Extremely ferocious. We can't afford to provoke him. Let's run. The geniuses on the Red Moon platform sucked in a breath of cold air. That blade was close to perfection, and it had integrated all of Lin Chen's strength. It directly erupted with power comparable to the early Third Heaven Sage realm. Lin Chen exhaled excitedly. Finally, I crossed that line. Chapter 1167. Lin Chen sighed inwardly. It's really hard to break through to the true Saint realm. Even if I break through to the 10th Saint Acupoint and double the strength of my Saint Acupoints, I won't be able to unleash an attack at the Third Heaven True Saint realm without using the 9 Tribulation Star and the 2 Orange Rank Secret Arts. As long as I use the Instant Light Split Shadows, any half-orange rank battle technique will be able to unleash an attack at the Third Heaven True Saint realm. Using 10 Saint points to unleash the lethality of 21 Saint points was something unimaginable for the top 100 geniuses of the genius ranking from millions of years ago, let alone being able to achieve such a feat. Without a doubt, Lin Chen was one of the weirdest First Heaven True Saints. The Lightning Spirit Lady was stunned. Even though it was a casual attack, she hadn't expected a puny human like Lin Chen to break through it. Rumble. Heavenly lightning rumbled, threatening to destroy the world. The lightning spirit gathered all the energy in the lightning pool, and the entire realm started to tremble. That lightning spirit is going to use all the energy in the lightning pool. Only a Third Heaven True Saint Realm expert would be able to withstand this attack. It's not something that can be blocked by that blade. Fairy Scarlet stared at Lin Chen with interest. Oh, you want to fight me to the end? That's exactly what I'm thinking. Lin Chen's battle intent soared. There was a high number of attribute bubbles in the lightning spirit's body. As long as he could get his hands on it, he would have enough attribute points to create a top-tier blue rank technique that could threaten even a Fourth Heaven True Saint Realm expert. Consumed 410,000 enhancement points. God's Tears plus 13. Overall power increase, 240%. Automatic upgrade complete. Consumed 32. 21 million enhancement points. Host has 10,000 enhancement points remaining. Unable to upgrade any further. The first orange rank battle technique to reach plus 13. Ha ha ha. Lin Chen threw his head back and roared with laughter. Good. I expected it to reach plus 12. Who would have thought that I would be lucky enough to get it to plus 13? Chi. 10,000 bolts of lightning rumbled through the sky. The Thunder Spirit Woman thrust out her hands, and a massive purple thunder Kirin appeared. It was formed purely from the power of holy thunder, and it madly charged towards Lin Chen. Rumble. The moment the lightning Kirin formed by the holy lightning bolts charged forward, the entire lightning pool shook. Lin Chen held the blade with both hands and took a deep breath. His Saint Acupoint injected a huge amount of Saint power into the light wheel odd crystal, and he slashed vertically. The saber light exploded. An aurora illuminated the world. Lin Chen slashed out a rapidly spinning aurora saber energy. The power of this saber strike pierced through the continental plates. This slash contained a vast amount of spiritual energy. Consumed 13,500 intermediate talent points. Host has activated orange talent. Instant light, split shadow, annihilation. It was Lin Chen's first time using destruction. and it was a rare combination of two orange talents. The rapidly spinning, blazing saber energy suddenly trembled. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The saber chi split into five. Wherever it passed, it twisted the lightning and annihilated thousands of thunderbolts. Bang! With five explosions, the saber chi exploded. The jade-like pieces of saber chi were like a rain of flowers. Every single piece of saber chi contained a spiritual power that could move the stars, a pure strength that could pierce through the sky, and a sharpness that could pierce through everything. Everyone on the Red Moon platform was stunned by this peerless saber strike. Even the sages were dumbfounded. The scene of the crystal-clear saber chi spinning at an extremely fast speed was like a scene in the mortal world. It was magnificent, but there was endless killing intent hidden in the beauty. Bang, bang, bang. Tens of thousands of saber chi fragments bombarded the vast and majestic Thunder Kirin in an instant. Countless fragments of saber light sputtered, and the thousands of thunderbolts were completely shattered and twisted into lightning sparks that filled the sky. The sages' hearts trembled. Broken? This powerful lightning attack that was comparable to a third Heaven Sage realm perfection stage was actually broken by Lin Shun, a first Heaven Sage realm. How terrifying was a plus 13 God's Tears? If one were to use the value of all of Lin Shan's half-orange grade combat techniques as an example, they would be worth 15 million points. With the addition of Charge, Penetration Rune, Assault, Ultimate Moment, and Enhance, the increase would be around 16 to 19 times. In total, the value would only be between 240 million and 285 million points. The basic value of God's Tears was around 300 million points. If the host could shatter his pure strength and spiritual energy into saber chi fragments, the value would be even higher. With this basic premise, Enhance plus 13 would increase the power by 240%, and the value would be more than 1 billion points. Doubling the power of a half-orange grade combat technique and doubling the power of an orange grade combat technique were two completely different concepts. They couldn't be compared at all. Even 15 million x 50 wouldn't reach 1 billion points. In other words, even if the Mirror Moon Imperial God was 50 times stronger, it wouldn't be able to surpass the plus 13 God's Tears. Not to mention that Lin Shun had already reached the highest level of God's Tears. His pure strength, spiritual energy, and sacred power could shatter all at once, and the value would be far higher than 1 billion points. With this increase, coupled with the power of the odd crystal and the instant light split shadows, the destructive power would be 2 realms higher than a third Heaven Sage realm cultivator. With the Thunder Kirin destroyed, the naked lightning spirit woman finally revealed a trace of instinctive fear. She used the sacred lightning to protect herself and tried to retreat. However, the endless saber energy fragments that were as beautiful as broken jade were like the most terrifying storm in the mortal world. They were extremely fast, and after destroying the Thunder Qilin, they carried an aura that could destroy all things as they struck the Thunder Spirit Woman. Bang! 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 The Lightning Spirit Woman's defense was broken by dozens of saber chi fragments, and the sacred lightning energy in her body was quickly drained. She was shocked and tried to use the lightning pool's energy to heal her wounds. However, she was even more shocked when she realized that her wounds couldn't heal. This caused her power to be drained quickly, and she couldn't recover. This was the effect of the orange talent, Annihilation Rupture. Shwa! With a flap of the Holy Phoenix wings, Lin Shen appeared in front of the lightning spirit like a ghost and grabbed it. Ing! The lightning spirit let out a cry of fear, but Lin Shen quickly transmitted his voice. Listen to me if you don't want to die. Otherwise, I'll make you disappear from this world. Lin Shen grabbed it tightly and threatened it fiercely. The lightning spirit seemed to understand and nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. Lin Shen opened its mouth at lightning speed and fed it a wanderer fruit and a long kingwo. No one from the Red Moon platform noticed. Once the wanderer fruit and the long kingwo entered his body, the two mysterious energies began to circulate. Host received 2 million Heavenly Thunder Dipper points, 239,000 points, 1,300,000 points. Special attribute bubbles kept falling out of the lightning spirit's wound on its waist. As its power continued to decrease, Lin Shen's special attribute values continued to soar. Finally, after the lightning spirit's energy had decreased by more than half and its power had decreased by 70%, Lin Shen canceled the effect of Annihilation Rupture. This talent could be deactivated at the host's discretion. At this time, the lightning no longer appeared, and a beautiful and fresh woman was reborn. She had flesh and blood, snow-white skin, a dress, and long hair that reached her waist. She was a living person. Lin Shen said seriously, "It's very difficult for great power to transform you into a real life. This is also the path that has been hindering your progress. How about it? Give up your power to me and become a real life. It's not a loss, right?" Everyone from the Red Moon platform sighed in amazement. This Lin Shen's methods were getting more and more amazing each time. But if you want to talk, why don't you remove your dog paws from the girl's body first? The beauty said shyly, "Thank you, young master. It's not a loss, it's not a loss. It's just that, young master, can your hands move away from my body?" Lin Shen came back to his senses and scratched his head. He smiled and said, "About that, I'm sorry. I'm used to it. It's not a loss." Chapter 1168. In the future, you will be a complete life form. You can cultivate here or leave if you want. With your strength, ordinary true saints won't be able to hurt you. That's all. I'll be leaving. Lin Shen waved his hands at the long-haired maiden as he flew towards the direction of the lightning pool. The beautiful maiden's eyes gleamed as she stared at his departing back. "Thank you. I will remember you." She would forever remember the young man's back and face in her heart. Inside the abyss-splitting tunnel, Lin Shen was laughing like a 250 gene fatty. His heart was filled with joy. The harvest this time is huge. I really want to thank Shi Xiaoxian. His body refinement breakthrough is so terrifying. In the future, when I use the War God's Vambrace, I could try to use more pure strength. Although the consumption of the set's essence will be faster. If I use all my clones without 6/3 Heaven True Saints, they won't even be able to eat this young master's fart. Lin Shen's confidence grew stronger and stronger. Although Lin Shen had the War God's Vambrace, it was his last resort. Without the set's essence, he wouldn't be able to use it for the time being. Just like the absolute life and death talent, it was his final trump card. I have to seize the opportunity to obtain more enhancement points and orange rank techniques. With 2 orange rank talents in my hands, even the slightest increase in my attack power will be a qualitative change. After returning to the testing space, Lin Shen wasn't in a hurry to leave. He chased after the geniuses in the space and did nothing but pick up attribute points. He collected every attribute ball that dropped without fail. The difference in cultivation between him and these geniuses wasn't too big. Although they wouldn't drop any attribute balls in battle, they might be injured. After squatting for 2 days, Lin Shen picked up over 100 high-quality attribute balls. He even sent his clones to sneak attack the holy beasts. His main body stayed far away from the battlefield. The sacred beast's final counterattack was no small matter. The sacred beasts here were far more powerful than the ones in the Sacred King's tomb. They had enough intelligence, enough fighting skills, and powerful bloodline divine ability. 2 sacred beasts with 3 billion dragon power points could easily crush the dozens of sacred beasts in the Sacred King's tomb. It was just like how a second Heaven True Saint could easily crush a first Heaven True Saint. Both sides were on completely different levels. Even Lin Shen had to be careful of their counterattacks. At the cost of losing one of his doppelgangers, Lin Shen had killed 3 holy beasts and obtained a huge amount of high-grade vitality points and elemental attribute points. Lin Shen did not waste anything. He had the holy dragons swallow the bodies of the 3 holy beasts and refine them along with their vicious beast cores. The next time the divine dragon comes out of seclusion, his dragon veins should be able to exceed 100 million. I wonder if his dragon energy will be able to reach the level of my main body. However, the highest growth limit of a 10,000-year profound Azure Dragon's bloodline is rank 8 beginner. After being strengthened, it will increase by more than 4 times, which means that his dragon energy should be around 40 billion. Lin Shun fell into deep thought. The growth limit of the Holy Dragon was based on the highest bloodline. The Holy Dragon had the bloodline of the Great Flame, True Phoenix, so its growth limit was far beyond 40 billion dragon power points. However, the bloodline ability was different. For example, if the Holy Dragon controlled 100 billion dragon power points, then the power of the Aeon Cyan Light would only be around 40 billion dragon power points. If he used the Great Flame Prison, then he could perfectly unleash the destructive power of 100 billion dragon power points. Bloodline ability was limited by the limits of the bloodline. Unless Lin Shun gave up on the Azure Dragon and Winged Dragon's abilities in the future. Looks like I'll have to find a chance to visit the Dragon Tribe. According to Tuo Sheng's records, the Dragon Tribe in the Sacred Boundary has tens of thousands of branches. There's bound to be an ancestor of the Azure Dragon and Winged Dragon. Also, I have to find the ancient Taishi Dragon's dragon blood and open the Dragon God's Blood Jade. Just as Lin Shun was still wandering around, he was teleported out of the secret realm and back to the Red Moon platform. Oh, what's going on? Didn't they say the test would last for half a month? Lin Shun was stunned. However, he discovered that pairs of strange eyes were staring at him. Class monitor, Han Iji secretly transmitted her voice. You attracted the attention of all the holy beasts to the other geniuses. They didn't even have a chance to find the Scarlet Moon Jade before they were all eliminated. Huh? Lin Shun was amused. So he was the one who took the blame? It's all your fault, you bastard. What kind of trick did you use to defeat our 3 senior brothers? Otherwise, they would never have been eliminated. Our 3 senior brothers are the strongest. Outside the Red Moon platform, a blue-clothed girl pointed at Lin Shun and cursed. Lin Shun looked at the blue-clothed girl calmly. A deadly sense of crisis immediately made her pupils shrink. She trembled and lowered her head, not daring to look at Lin Shun again. I don't care about your senior brothers. I didn't violate the rules. If you don't agree with me, you can come and find me, Lin Shun, at any time. Lin Shun patted the dust off his shoulders in a relaxed manner. This girl was just a 5th Tribulation Battle Emperor. Although she was on the genius ranking, she didn't even have the right to speak in front of Lin Shun. After becoming a saint, the difference between a battle emperor and a saint was like the difference between heaven and earth. A saint could suppress a battle emperor with a single glance. Killing an ordinary battle emperor was something that could be done with a mere thought, let alone Lin Shun. Fairy Scarlet spoke. There were some unexpected situations in this assessment, but no one violated the rules. So far, only 4 people have obtained the tokens. It's not good to hold the second round of the assessment. Even a genius of the Saint Realm, like Lien Wushuang, could only shake his head and smile bitterly. Damn it, who asked them to be so unlucky to encounter such a weirdo like Lin Shun? This guy never did things according to the rules and common sense. Crimson Moon Palace has always been fond of music and poetry. I haven't returned to my hometown for many years, Fairy Scarlet sighed faintly. Her beautiful face revealed a hint of sadness, which made many men feel sorry for her. Their hearts trembled. Fairy Scarlet had something on her mind. Well, the second round of the assessment is canceled. The 4 of you who pass the assessment will compose a poem. Whoever performs better will get the candidate token. What do you think, young Master Haniji? Fairy Scarlet turned her beautiful eyes and looked at Haniji. Everyone was stunned. Compose a poem? Who would have thought that Fairy Scarlet would do such a thing? The competition for a candidate token of a genius ranking was decided by composing a poem? This was too unexpected. In fact, it was not that Fairy Scarlet did not want to take the assessment, but because of Lin Chen's existence, she could not find a better assessment at the last minute. In terms of combat strength, means, and foundation, Lin Shun was obviously better than everyone else. No matter what assessment there was, almost no one could stop him. If there was an assessment at the last minute, it would be somewhat unfair to the other geniuses. Shi Xiaoxian and the other two geniuses seemed to understand Fairy Scarlet's intention, and their eyes lit up. Before Han Yizhi could express his opinion, he answered first. I agree with composing a poem for the final round of the assessment. What's so good about fighting and killing? We who have power should be kind and avoid harm. Whether it's something or not, we should do good deeds. Young Master, he and I think the same. Haha, I also think this is a good topic. The geniuses of the Saint Realm who were eliminated in the first round sneered at the two of them. Damn it, aren't you just afraid of Lin Shun? Your words are better than the last. Chapter 1169. Monitor, are you sure? Han Yizhi was a little worried. She recommended Lin Shun to come here because she knew the content of the test in advance. She thought that Lin Shun could pass the test with his strength. She didn't expect that the content of the test would be changed. Lin Shun didn't transmit his voice, but the corners of his mouth rose slightly. Han Yizhi understood and nodded to Fairy Crimson. Fairy, you have made up your mind. I have no objection. Everyone was relieved. Finally, they didn't have to face Lin Shun, the monster. Then I'll go first. The long-haired young master, he walked out slowly. When he smiled, his dimples appeared. He looked delicate and exquisite. His sword-like eyebrows were straight. His face was like a pile of snow. His figure was tall and slender. He was gentle and elegant. His every word and action had charmed many girls. He was ranked 433rd on the genius list. His talent was rare. He came from a 6th grade sect and was favored by the god of the Green Territory. He had long admired Fairy Crimson. His comprehensive strength was stronger than the other geniuses in the first test. Fairy, you just missed your hometown and sighed. Then I'll answer the question of lovesickness. Childe's delicate face was entranced. He was like a young boy in the countryside who was worried about his first love. There was a hint of longing and worry in his eyes. He got into the role quickly. If he was an actor, his salary should be at least 200 million. Lin Shun was amazed. He stared at Fairy Crimson, his eyes full of admiration and love. When the flowers bloom in the first month, I still see Fairy Crimson thinking of the old moon. There is a limit to the ends of the earth. Only lovesickness is endless. Everyone listened carefully and sighed in their hearts. Wonderful. Fairy Scarlet nodded slightly. Then, it was Shimin Shue's turn. He had a handsome face and an imposing appearance. His bones revealed the arrogance of an elegant and noble young master. There was also a heroic spirit between his eyebrows. Some young talented girls were overjoyed when they saw him. It was as if they saw a noble young man in armor going to the battlefield. Shimin Shue was ranked 477 on the genius ranking. She was born in a rank 6 aristocratic family. Her aristocratic family was the combined power of several large merchant associations. She was a super genius born with a golden spoon in her mouth. He gracefully bowed to Fairy Crimson and said, Now that I've seen Fairy Crimson, I know what it means to be a peerless beauty in the world. I'll also use lovesickness as my topic. 10,000 pieces of gold are used to buy a person's appearance. Who are you expressing your feelings for? Since ancient times, there's always been love, infatuation. Don't hate the wind and the moon. Shimin Shue's voice was clear and steady, revealing a resolute and decisive charm. His words, spending 10,000 gold to buy a face is as good as writing a poem, had moved many people. Everyone knew that he came from a wealthy family, and many geniuses couldn't even compare to him. They didn't expect him to have this kind of conviction because of a strand of longing. This made many people have a whole new level of respect for him. This Shimin Shue is basically telling the truth to Scarlet Fairy. He's really a man. He's not ambiguous at all. In terms of determination, Shimin Shue is a little more manly. In terms of the overall situation, young master, he is better. Neither of them are ordinary people. The winner may come from the two of them. What's the background of Shi Xiaoxian and Lin Shun? One of them is a pervert, a man who focuses on women. As for Lin Shun, Although he's a celestial being, he's still young and inexperienced. In the saint's world, martial arts is the mainstream. Poetry is just a subsidiary. I don't think the two of them can stand out here. The sages exchanged glances and made a high judgment in their hearts. Fairy Crimson was expressionless in the face of Shimin Shue's confession, but she gave him a look of appreciation for his performance. It was Shi Xiaoxian's turn. This person still had that annoying smile on his face. As soon as he appeared, he was spurned by many women. What kind of ink can a thief have? Shi Xiaoxian, don't make a fool of yourself. Why don't you go home and think about your 36 bridal chamber moves? If you publish a book, I'll definitely subscribe to it. The geniuses who were eliminated in the first round mocked and ridiculed Shi Xiaoxian. Humph! A bunch of snobs. Shi Xiaoxian proudly puffed out his chest, tidied his collar, and looked serious. Everyone was curious. Could it be that this pervert really had ink? Shi Xiaoxian's expression showed some affection and reminiscence as he said loudly, "The bright moon shines above the sea, and we share this moment from the ends of the earth. Lovers complain about the distant night, and they miss each other at night. Heartless does not taste the bitterness of love, and 1 inch turns into thousands of strands." As soon as he finished speaking, the Red Moon platform fell silent. Many people's mouths were slightly open. Was this guy a romantic? Shi Xiaoxian stared at Fairy Crimson, and a look of reminiscence appeared on his face. That year, I was 18, and she was 18. I met her at her most thirsty age. That night, I was behind her, and she was in front. That day, I was on the surface of the sea, and she was in the sea. She taught me calligraphy and the philosophy of yin and yang. Seeing the fairy's face today, I can't help but recall that night with the bright moon above the sea. The corners of everyone's mouths twitched. Sure enough, he was that Shi Xiaoxian. Lin Chen laughed out loud. This Shi Xiaoxian was really a talent. Fairy Crimson commented calmly. He is a talented man. Finally, after exclaiming that this Shi Xiaoxian was also a talent, everyone looked at Lin Chen. The first three had performed very well, and their artistic conception was very similar. How would Lin Chen perform? If he forced himself to compose a poem, it would be very difficult for him to win. When the geniuses saw that Lin Chen seemed to be suppressed, they were secretly happy. Who told you to be so arrogant in the first round? Why can't you be arrogant now? Ha ha ha. Suddenly, Lin Chen laughed. Bootlickers get everything in the end. Lin Chen glanced at the three geniuses just now. Young master, he said with a fake smile. Oh, our great prodigy Lin is exasperated. Did he break the pot? Shimin Shui smiled and said, Brother He, how can you say that? How can Brother Lin Chen break a broken pot? In my opinion, Brother Lin Chen must have thought of an eternal poem. He has the confidence to suppress everyone present. Don't you think so, Brother Lin Chen? I can't wait to see it. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell what Shimin Shui meant by can't wait. He couldn't wait to make a fool of himself. Han Yiji was a little nervous. Although she knew that the class monitor had always been able to turn the tide, he had never done any research or performed outstandingly in poetry. Moreover, last-minute preparation was useless against these geniuses. Shimin Shui, you really have good taste. You even know this. I really do have an immortal poem, and I have the confidence to win this time's Demon List candidate token. The victory this time belongs to me. Lin Chen said with a smile, which made people even more confused. Did he not have a draft for bragging? Come, bring me a brush and ink. Lin Chen waved his hand domineeringly, and the corners of his mouth rose crazily. His calm and absolute confidence that he had everything under control puzzled everyone. Where did this kid get his confidence from? Could it be that he had such a monstrous talent in martial arts, and also had such a high attainment in poetry? Chapter 1170. Fairy Scarlet's beloved disciple, Yi Qingyun, came in the fog. Her clothes fluttered like the clouds, like a fairy floating in the clouds. She landed beside Lin Chun and laid out the 4 treasures of the study for Lin Chun obediently and elegantly. Yi Qingyun raised her beautiful eyes and stared at Lin Chun affectionately. She was wearing a light yellow dress, like a fluttering butterfly in the cloud valley. Her figure was plump and exquisite, fresh and refined. Her cherry lips moved slightly, and she secretly transmitted her voice to Lin Chun. Young master, you don't have to force yourself. The poem is just an accessory. Young Master's strength has already let the world know of Young Master Lin's foundation. A small poem will definitely not affect Young Master's future. Please don't feel pressured. Lin Chun winked at her frivolously. His expression was full of frivolity, as if he did not take this matter to heart at all. The beauty's heart palpitated. If Lin Chun could not pass the first stage, according to the rules, he could still choose the fairy's disciples as his concubines. None of Fairy Scarlet's disciples were easy to deal with. Yi Qingyun seized the opportunity to get in touch with Lin Chun first, wanting to leave a good impression on him. With Lin Chun's talent, no one present could be compared to him except for Han Yiji. If she could get his favor, it would be better than any other genius. Yi Qingyun was smart and knew this well. When they saw Yi Qingyun retreating to the side, everyone was looking forward to it. They were extremely curious about what kind of wonderful poem Lin Chun could write. The saints stared at him, as if they wanted to see through all of Lin Chun's secrets. Even Fairy Scarlet could not help but feel a little curious. Lin Chun raised his brush and channeled a wisp of holy qi, causing the space around him to distort and blur. The holy light was dense, and the tip of his brush shone brightly, making it impossible for anyone to see clearly. In an instant, Lin Chun raised his brush. The tip of the brush dipped in ink and waved quickly. His strokes were vigorous and powerful, like dragons and snakes dancing. The brush stopped, and the paper rolled. The speed was so fast that it didn't even take a breath, causing everyone to be stunned for a moment. Lin Chun used his saint energy to cover up the jade slip, so that they could not see it clearly. By the time they reacted, Lin Chun had already closed the jade slip, and saint energy circulated around it, so that no saint could pry into its contents. Why is Your Excellency Lin Chun being so secretive all of a sudden? Could it be that you have no confidence in yourself? Young Master, he opened his mouth to mock. He was just about to ruthlessly humiliate Lin Chun. Poetry is not a contest of martial arts. Since ancient times, there has been no first place in literature and no second place in martial arts. Everyone's understanding was different. He had already made preparations today. No matter what kind of poem Lin Chun came up with, no matter how amazing it was, he would use his life's knowledge to ruthlessly slap Lin Chun's face. That's right, Lin Chun. Don't tell me you're scared. Are you regretting now that you've bragged too much? If you're a man, then show it. What kind of man are you if you keep hiding? You can't even be compared to Shi Shaoxian. I knew it. I once read an ancient book that said that people who brag don't use their brains. It's obvious that little brother Lin Chun is a living example. Everyone ridiculed Huang Xiaolong, as if they didn't care about the matter at all. It was as if they had forgotten that the young man they were mocking was an existence that had slaughtered several fourth heaven true saints. Brother Lin Chun, don't be so stingy. Don't tell me you have no confidence in yourself. Shimin Shui chuckled, and a carefree look appeared in her eyes. Facing the crowd's questioning, Lin Chun smiled indifferently and said, "Since it's an immortal poem, it naturally surpasses the ancients and dazzles the contemporaries. Mortals like you can only appreciate the charm of an immortal poem. Apart from this handsome guy and the cute little Yiji, only someone like Fairy Scarlet is barely qualified to read this handsome guy's ancient poem. Those who aren't handsome enough aren't qualified to appreciate this poem." Impudent. Fairy Scarlet is barely qualified? What do you take this place for? I think this kid is deliberately mystifying things. He's an arrogant person. Fairy Scarlet, please suppress this arrogant person. Everyone was enraged, and Fairy Scarlet slowly raised her hand. Everyone, please be quiet for a while. Why don't you let me see what's so profound about this poem? Just now, Sir Lin Chen said that I'm barely qualified, right? Fairy Scarlet's voice was very soft, as if she wasn't angry at all. She stared at Lin Shan with a meaningful gaze. Hearing this, everyone immediately changed the topic. Then, Fairy Scarlet, please read this arrogant piece of work first before announcing the result. Yes, we won't doubt Fairy Scarlet's fairness. We just hope Fairy Scarlet won't be too kind to this arrogant person. From the crowd's cheers, it was obvious that Fairy Scarlet's reputation in the southern border was very high. Fairy Scarlet's beautiful eyes turned to Lin Chen. Are you okay with this, Sir Lin Chen? Lin Chen shrugged. If it's you, you're barely qualified. You have to be mentally prepared when you read my poem. I'm not those two bootlickers over there. There are only two fairies I recognize, and they're not you. Everyone resisted the urge to beat this guy up. Lin Chen opened his hand, and Yi Qingyun took the jade scroll shrouded in holy light. Then, she respectfully presented it to Fairy Scarlet. On the giant ship, Fairy Scarlet took the jade scroll. The holy light melted a little, and her delicate hand spread out the jade scroll. Fairy Crimson had seen the contents of the jade slip. Fairy Scarlet, who had always been calm and elegant, suddenly had a slight change in expression. Her beautiful eyes flickered a few times, and a trace of shock appeared on her peerless beauty. Her expression was rarely moved. Rumble. In an instant, the wind and clouds changed, and the crimson moonlight shrouded the sky like a bright moon rising, illuminating the entire red moon platform. Fairy Scarlet's holy power leaked out a little, causing the pressure on many people present to increase sharply. Her disciples all turned pale. They had never seen Fairy Scarlet lose her composure like this. Everyone was shocked. In particular, the sages who knew Fairy Scarlet were even more incredulous. In their knowledge, although Fairy Scarlet's temperament was charming and delicate, she had always been the type of person who would remain calm even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of her. What kind of poem did Lin Shan compose to move someone of Fairy Scarlet's level so much? When young master, he, Shimin Shui, and the others focused their gazes on Lin Shan again, they saw him looking up at the sky at a 45-degree angle and sighing deeply. Back in the day, I was a romantic and elegant man in the celestial realm. I wrote poems and made merry, flirting with countless girls. You mortals don't understand. At this age, this handsome guy has endured too much pressure that doesn't belong to me. Sigh, is this God's punishment for being handsome and talented? Damn it, this guy is really shameless to the extreme. You even brought up the celestial realm? That's a world that only exists in legends. If you're from the celestial realm, we'll all eat sh*t upside down. But no one could figure out what kind of poem this guy had composed to move Fairy Scarlet so much. Was it really as magical as he said? Did this poem originate from the legendary celestial realm? Was it this nonsense? Chapter 1171. Lin Chen's move had left everyone dumbfounded. One could say that he was bragging and shameless, but Fairy Scarlet's situation was obvious to all. Shimin Shui couldn't help but ask, Fairy Scarlet, this poem is... Fairy Crimson closed the jade slip with her jade-like hands, and her heart was in turmoil. When she looked at Lin Chen again, there was a different charm in her eyes. She said seriously, Prince Lin Chen's poem is really unprecedented. It should only exist in the heavens. I wonder if I can carefully treasure it and savor it in the future. Lin Chen snapped his fingers and smiled. Of course, no problem. I won't care if you curl up in bed and read it. Fairy Scarlet seemed to understand Lin Chen's meaning. She said softly, Thank you, young master. Young master, he was a little mad. He hurriedly said, Fairy Scarlet, what poem is this? Can you broaden our horizons? Fairy Scarlet shook her head. No, I won't go back on my words. I announce that Prince Lin Chen has passed this assessment and will be a candidate for the monster list. The rest of the geniuses can also choose my favorite disciple to be my concubine. Everyone's scalps went numb. They were completely stunned. Fairy Scarlet's announcement was a little tough and determined. She didn't even ask Han Yiji for permission. It was as if Lin Shan was destined to win. He won. He won just like that. What the F***CK is going on? Without us knowing anything, Lin Shan won just like that? Shimin Shui could no longer maintain her composure. She scolded Lin Shan. Lin Shan, if you have any amazing poems, you must hide them. Why can't you let everyone enjoy them together? I've already told you the reason. Lin Shan shrugged and said jokingly, "You're not handsome enough. You can't understand this poem. Only a handsome guy like me and the most handsome boy sitting over there at the sacred boundary are qualified." The corners of most people's mouths twitched slightly. Han Yiji covered her mouth and chuckled. The big stone in her heart had been completely put down. Class rep is really amazing. What kind of poem is it? Even Fairy Scarlet was stunned. Han Yiji was curious. Based on his understanding of the class leader, this might not be a poem. Whoosh! Fairy Scarlet flipped her slender hand, and a token appeared in her palm. She then passed it to Lin Shan. All the geniuses looked at the candidate token with envy. Apart from the top 100 geniuses, anyone who wanted to participate in the 10-year Holy War could only collect 3 candidate tokens. Those who won the Holy War would be able to enter the list of candidates for the Genius List and gain most of the rights equivalent to those on the Genius List. Fairy Scarlet's grand banquet ended with a result that exceeded everyone's expectations. Many geniuses sighed as they left, unwilling to accept the outcome. Damn it. In the end, we still can't see what kind of poem Lin Shan wrote. Why is it so mysterious? Even Fairy Crimson is moved to such an extent. I'm afraid this is truly a wondrous poem. It's normal for this kid to stand out. Think about it. He's someone who even dares to touch the tiger, but of a holy king. There's nothing he won't do. No one questioned Fairy Scarlet's decision. With her status and reputation, no one would dare to refute her, even if she directly handed the candidate token to Lin Shan. Young Master He and Shimin Shui each chose a concubine, which made others envious. Unexpectedly, Shi Shaoxian didn't choose a concubine. Instead, he left directly. This was simply not in line with his reputation as one of the 4 great obscenities. Yi Qingyun stared at Lin Shan resentfully. She didn't expect him to meet her master's eyes with a meaningful gaze. So, he came for Master. My charm is still not as good as Master's. Yi Qingyun sighed faintly. As they left, some of the saints were surprised to find that Fairy Scarlet had invited Lin Shan onto the ship. A secret meeting? Or commission? Han Yiji was arranged to be in another secret room on the ship, inside a boudoir on the Scarlet ship. The space was completely sealed. With Fairy Scarlet's means, even a 5th-level saint couldn't enter under the premise that she sealed the space. In the boudoir, Lin Shan and Fairy Scarlet sat opposite each other. Lin Shan's jade slip was on the table. When the jade slip was opened, the content written on it was not some ancient poem at all. Instead, there were 4 big words. You are not human. The 4 big words, you are not human, were vigorous and powerful, without the slightest hesitation or stagnation. It all showed the courage and confidence of the writer. That's right, this was the secret of Fairy Scarlet that Lin Shan controlled. Lin Shan had a habit. Wherever he went, as long as there was a saint, he would try his best to activate the stealing omen to steal attribute points. However, when he first met Fairy Scarlet, the stealing omen had failed to activate. Fairy Scarlet cultivation was indeed very powerful, but it was not so powerful that Lin Shan couldn't steal attribute points from her. At that time, the system only gave him one answer: unable to steal attribute points from plants of providence. Fairy Scarlet was not a human. She was actually a spirit plant of providence in human form. This secret, when Lin Shan first saw it, he was shocked beyond compare. A spirit plant of providence in human form? From the level that Lin Shan had come into contact with, this was simply impossible. At least, it was impossible for a middle-grade spirit plant of providence. A 6th-grade aristocratic family had a middle-grade spirit plant of providence. Lin Shan only knew a little about the records of this item, so it was impossible for it to transform into human form. It was even more impossible for it to transform into human form and have the strength of a high-level saint. Spirit plants of providence and odd crystals were divided into low grade, middle grade, high grade, supreme grade, and supreme grade. Lin Shun had never come into contact with a high-grade spirit plant of providence. Such a peerless treasure was at least in the hands of a 7th grade or even higher giant. In other words, Fairy Scarlet was at least a high-grade spirit plant of providence. Fairy Scarlet's pair of beautiful eyes stared at Lin Shun. A faint killing intent flashed in her eyes, but there was even more shock and doubt. There were only a handful of people who knew about the secret of her true identity, and some had even died. If she continued to hide, perhaps no one in this world would know about her. How did this young man find out? What was the purpose of this young man? Was it just for the candidate order? Why was he here? To what extent did he know about her secret? Where did he come from? What was his purpose for revealing her secret this time? Did it mean that he wasn't afraid of her? Countless questions lingered in Fairy Scarlet's mind. This was the first time in so many years that she felt a trace of panic. She didn't know Lin Shen's origin, so she didn't touch Lin Shun for the time being. If she wanted to kill Lin Shun, it would only be a matter of a few breaths. The question was whether he had passed on her secret to a third party or more people. This secret involved her life. Once exposed, it would instantly cause a war in the Green region and even more regions. Suddenly, Lin Shen laughed. He smiled in a relaxed manner and even asked Fairy Scarlet with a smile on his face. Fairy Scarlet, am I handsome? Fairy Scarlet was stunned. The next moment, she forced herself to calm down and smiled sweetly. Her smile was charming. Of course, young master is very handsome. You're so handsome that I'm a little flustered. Chapter 1172. Lin Shen estimated that he would not be a match for Fairy Scarlet, even if he used the War God's bracers. He was also trying to cross the river by feeling the stones. He would do anything for the Genius List candidate token. Young master, can you tell me how much you know about my secret? Fairy Scarlet's voice was like a hazy mist, trying to charm Lin Shen. Lin Shen's clone had swallowed 2 wanderer fruits in Qingshue's plant pouch, so that Lin Shen could maintain a high level of mental clarity and was not affected at all. He smiled and said, not much, not much. You can put away your killing intent. As long as I'm fine, your secret is absolutely safe. Fairy Scarlet saw that Lin Shen's eyes were clear and as firm as a rock. She thought even more highly of him. She put away all her pretense and asked seriously, what is your purpose? How do you know my secret? Lin Shen crossed his fingers and placed them at the tip of his nose. His eyes were deep as he said calmly, don't try to find out what I'm capable of. You can't imagine it. I'm only here for the Genius List candidate token. Fairy Scarlet said, how can I trust you? Lin Shen pointed at her and said, tell me your purpose. If people know that I'm eating meat without paying, they will naturally suspect me. I just want to cooperate with you. Fairy Scarlet was surprised and suspicious. You're still in the mood to cooperate with me? Lin Shen shrugged. I can't guarantee that I can complete it. Fairy Scarlet looked at him deeply. According to the agreement, the person who obtained the Genius List candidate token did have to complete a task for her. This task was the reason why she had been preparing for so long. I want you to disguise yourself as a Saint Stage slave and enter the barbarian realm. As a slave, you can sneak into the territory of the illusory heart dragon and wait for an opportunity to help me destroy something. Fairy Scarlet took out a blueprint with an 8-sided exquisite crystal engraved on it. This is the illusory heart stone. Since you already know my secret, there's no harm in telling you. It's the last item I know of in the sacred boundary that will expose my identity. As long as I get close to it, the aura of my true body will be exposed. Lin Shen suddenly said, the current you shouldn't be your main body, right? Fairy Scarlet smiled and did not deny it. Taking a step back, if Lin Shen exposed her secret, she could also become someone else. The real threat was still the illusory enchantment stone. She continued, the illusory heart dragons have been in decline for a long time, and this item is the last of their race's heritage. The illusory heart dragons like handsome men and beautiful women of a human race, so it shouldn't be difficult for you to sneak in with your abilities. Once we're done, I'll give you a mid-grade plan of Destiny Seed. What do you think? Ever since she found out that Lin Shun knew her secret, Fairy Scarlet had been prepared to change her identity. Middle-grade plan of Providence Seeds? Lin Chen's eyes lit up. The value of this item was not inferior to a complete orange-grade cultivation method. It's a deal. The two of them hit it off immediately. They drew up a contract on paper and a blood contract. Lin Chen suddenly asked, "All right, what's a spirit plan of destiny? Or rather, what's Providence? Why is it that I've searched through many ancient books and ancient secret manuals, but none of them clearly state the principle of how a spirit plan of destiny absorbs Providence to produce Silver Saint origin coins and a large number of cultivation resources?" Lin Chen looked straight at Fairy Scarlet. He had searched many ancient records, but he had never really touched on this secret. The sacred boundary had a vast history, but it could completely seal this secret. This was very strange. It was as if the secret of why a spirit plan of destiny could produce cultivation resources was deliberately covered up by some existences. Perhaps it was best for Scarlet Fairy, who was a spiritual plan of Providence, to answer this question. When Fairy Scarlet heard this question, her beautiful blue eyes flashed a few times, and after a few moments, she said solemnly, "Providence is something that mortals can't touch, so they think it's an illusory thing. The thing that can affect the life of any living being is precisely Providence. Providence is not illusory. It really exists. To be more precise, Providence is a limited resource. It exists in this world and has always maintained the operation of the world." Fairy Scarlet's words were so shocking that Lin Shun was stunned. Providence was a kind of resource? Whether it's the sacred boundary or the mortal world, it doesn't matter. When a person's providence reaches its limit, it will be difficult to advance in this life. It's the same for saints. When their providence is exhausted, saints will also fall under the passage of time. In the end, when a saint or a saint beast falls, the providence they obtain from heaven and earth will be returned to the world. Providence will become a new resource, transformed into other cultivation resources through spirit plants of destiny or other methods. Speaking of this, Fairy Scarlet's delicate body trembled slightly, and a touch of unconcealable fear appeared in her beautiful eyes. Providence is more like a creation created by some masters to balance or control the resources of a world. When the resources of this world are always in a state of control, unexpected existences will not be born. Lin Chun was silent. Many years flashed through his mind. The stick I obtained from the clear sky Saint King that produces the seeds of spirit plants of destiny must be related to the secret of Providence. At least from the perspective of the energy that can be used to fill it after the fall of a saint, it is very consistent with what Fairy Scarlet said. After the fall of a saint, the providence they obtained will be returned to heaven and earth. Lin Shun did not dare to rashly take out the stick for Fairy Scarlet to study. Lin Shun did not have enough strength to protect himself. Rumble. With a loud bang, the crimson ship shook violently. The spatial enchantment protecting the ship shattered in an instant. The two of them narrowed their eyes. Hand over Lin Shun, or the ship will be destroyed and everyone will die. Fairy Scarlet looked at Lin Shun, who shrugged. Maybe it's my enemy? Han Yiji rushed into the room, her small face solemn. Class monitor, the situation is serious. 2 groups of people have come, and they are all powerhouses. Fairy, I happen to be going to the Dragon Clan next. These troubles. Lin Shun raised an eyebrow. Fairy Scarlet nodded. It's okay. If there are enemies, I will block them for you. Outside the ship, the sky was clear and boundless. The saints of the southern border were trembling in fear. This time, for powerful auras had descended. They were at least at the 5th heaven saint realm. Lin Shun and the other 2 appeared. Fairy Scarlet's dress was as delicate as fire, and her skirt fluttered like clouds as she stood proudly at the bow of the ship. In front of the ship were 3 dark figures. They were cold and sinister, and their baleful auras were so strong that even ordinary saints did not dare to look directly at them. Lin Shun was even more surprised when he looked up. A huge shadow hand stretched out from behind the ship and firmly grasped Fairy Scarlet's spatial ship. The three captains of the 9 Shadows, assassins. Fairy Scarlet's beautiful eyes narrowed. With just 3 Fifth Heaven Saint Realm experts, you want to snatch someone from my hands? You overestimate yourselves. Fairy Scarlet's aura shook, and the entire spatial ship stabilized. The people on the ship looked as if they had just survived a disaster. She glanced at the shadow hand behind her from the corner of her eyes. The aura of that creature was the strangest. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.